There we go. Much better. Hello, Crowley. I think I got my audio problems fixed, hopefully. Echo. Okay. That should eliminate the echo. But it also eliminated my ability to hear myself. All right, let's turn that one off and then this one back on. Okay, there we go. Yeah, much better. You have to turn all the monitoring off. Thanks, Carly. Hey, would you mind coming up just long enough to make sure I can hear guests? Or maybe reality chat. There we go. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Now I can hear you.
Yeah, it's a little echoey on the other side, on the viewer side, just to let you know.
Okay, is it still?
Just a little bit on the other side. When I had came in, it was clear, and then you did something, and you was like, okay, there we go, and then you asked to come up. I came up, and they can hear me now, apparently. So
okay, I can hear you too, which I couldn't. The problem was on the Windows side. So, am I still sounding a little echoey?
Well, when I'm with you, you sound just fine.
Okay.
So if on the other side, you should ask the guests.
All right. Thank you. Is anybody else hearing echo still? Clear and audible. Okay, fantastic. All right. Well, thanks for reality check. I appreciate it. Did you want to talk about anything in specific, or were you just helping me out?
Yeah, I was just trying to help you out, man. I'm a fan. I was really surprised to see that you followed me. I just want to say thanks, man. I follow you. I love you. You are awesome. I love your content, and you'll be seeing me in here a lot. That's all.
Okay, fantastic. I appreciate it.
Yeah, all right. Have a great time, boss.
You too. Okay.
How do you drop
Firebrand? Yeah.
How do I?
There. Firebrand, if anybody else is hearing, yeah, maybe it's just you. Hopefully it's just you. Hopefully it's just you. All right, as everybody comes back in. I did figure out what the problem was. It was not, well, it was kind of as I expected, PEBCAC. Problem exists between share and keyboard. I was trying to do some routing some audio to YouTube so I could run YouTube, and that kind of messed things up. So once I get rid of all that, I'll have to figure out how to get that working somehow. But thanks everybody for coming back. Dragon D's, are you Dragon D's nuts? Is that what you're doing? And I'm sure you've never heard that before, and that's probably your intent with your nickname. Yeah, that's the problem. Not one of them is too many people care about a book written 2,000 years ago and more, right? Depending on which book we're talking about. So, how do you know that not one of them? How do you know there's a spirit in us all? What does that mean, even? And how do you know that? Well, I care about people's beliefs because beliefs inform actions and actions have consequences. And we see those consequences enacted every day. And that's not a good thing by any stretch of the imagination. We exist, we are it. Yeah, pretty much. God is real? Okay, prove it. Wolfman, why don't you come on up and we can talk about your evidence that God is real?
Hey, how you doing, man? I'm good. 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 I'm good.
Right, personal relationship. We've heard that before. Hello, Usama Mohammed. Real quick, are you over 18?
Yes, I'm 30-year-old.
Oh, fantastic. And what do you want to talk about?
I want to talk about, can we prove God's existence?
Oh, good.
Is
Give it
that
to me.
okay? I think
Yeah, give it to me.
so. I have this opinion that not a lot of people share with me, that proving God or knowing about God is just similar as knowing about beautiful painting. So if I say a beautiful painting and I say, oh, this painting is beautiful, there is no scientific way I can prove in this. Maybe I can give reasons, like for example, say, oh, look, the color shade here is beautiful. The green goes well with the blue and stuff
Yep.
like that. But there is no rigorous mathematical proof or experimental thing I can do.
You're correct. And there's no philosophical argument either, right? Because beauty is a philosophical topic. We don't know how to define it in a way that makes, that transcends cultures and times.
Right. I don't believe in the logical proof like the people sometimes call the unmoved mover and stuff like that. I don't feel like also it says. For me, when someone tell me, prove me God exists, I tell him, look at the rivers, look at the sky, look, everything is harmonious. Just like the way I would talk about painting. And if he see it, then...
But the sky exists is not evidence that God exists, right? It's just evident. If I look at the sky, I see evidence that the sky exists. Where is the evidence that God exists?
Everything is for me evidence that God exists.
Right, for you, but how do you get there, right? How do you look at a tree and go, God exists?
Like when someone show you a painting and say that this painting is beautiful, everything in the painting is what make the painting beautiful, right? So I think I'm making similar judgment. I say everything in existence show me that God exists. So what I would do if someone...
No, so you're making, it's not the same thing, right? Beauty is hard to define, but whether or not something exists is not, right? So, my mouse exists. How do and I'm showing it to you, I can prove that this thing exists, right? So when it comes to a thing existing, God or a mouse or anything else, we have ways to prove that it exists. Same with black holes, same with the quantum fields, all of that. When we say this thing exists, we can prove it by looking at it, but saying it's not the same thing as beauty by any stretch of the imagination.
If you mean by something exists, that means something could be measured, like height, or could be weight, like mass, or could be have any, quantitative thing or quantitative way. I don't think God exists in that way.
Then what's the difference between you not being able to define God in a way that you can prove him, and God not existing at all?
Just the same way I'm talking about beauty.
But no, it's a category error. Beauty doesn't get you anywhere. Because beauty we can't define, right? Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, quite literally. And so we don't have any way to define it. We don't have any way to measure it. We can do some things. We can say things like, we tend to like things that go into the golden ratio and some other things like that. But honestly, no. So, and we have a definition for God that we can actually, most people have a definition for God that we can actually test. So, what is your definition for God?
I love to go that exist and have agency and personality. That is my God. So it's existing, but it have agency.
Does the sky have personality? Does it have agency?
The sky?
Yes.
Sometimes I think that the sky have agency, but not all the time.
But it doesn't, right? The sky is just natural forces at work. So what is this personality, and how do you determine that God's personality and God's agency did anything?
I feel it.
You feel it. Are feelings a valid pathway to truth?
Yes, why not? It's the most valid.
Is it?
Yes.
So when it's hot outside and everybody's cranky, do you think that affects the truth value of a claim?
No, but they're using emotion wrongly. I don't get angry when it is hot.
Oh, everybody gets a little cranky when things get hot. I mean, it's just kind of part of natural. But some people can control it. But I mean,
when
if you don't feel something is true, does it mean it's not true?
No, it's not. That's contradiction.
So if you feel something is not true or is true and it's not, that makes no sense, right? Feelings are just emotions that happen in the brain. They have nothing to do whether or not a mouse exists. I mean, nothing along those lines. Because feelings are just emotions. Emotions don't have any bearing on determining whether or not something is true.
You know, you are making weird thing here. I don't know if you're aware of it or not. You're using, you're making value. You're saying rationality and mind and objectivity is valuable. Emotion, sentimental, value things is not.
No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that feelings are not a valid pathway to truth. Feelings are useful, right? Feeling fear can have us react to things correctly. So feelings are valid. Feelings are things that happen, but they're not a valid pathway to truth. Just because I don't feel that 1 plus 1 equals 2 doesn't mean that 1 plus 1 equals 3 just because I feel it. That makes no sense.
You choose the domain of truth that you want to talk about. Truth have many domains. Like in moral way, I know what is morally good and morally bad based on my, emotions. I know it is true to help, someone sick when I feel sick in my stomach. My emotion helped me here.
Right, but it doesn't. But just because you feel sick at your stomach or you feel empathy towards somebody who you think is sick doesn't mean they're actually sick, right? There is nothing about feelings that can test the reality and see if it's actually real. It's just your feelings.
It's feelings what make us hate terrorists, and bad people.
Yeah, but that doesn't affect the reality of whether or not that's a person or there.
Yes, you're choosing your domain. If you say that, when it comes to objective realm, abstraction is the most good way and rationality it is, yes, of course. I'm not saying that mathematically I would know 2 plus 2 by feeling, but feeling has its own domain. It's you cannot downplay it that way.
Right, but feelings have no bearing on whether or not something is true.
What I can do the same and it will be weird. What if I tell you, rationality will tell you we do nothing when you want to feel in love with someone else. Knowing any fact is useless when you want to be in love with someone else.
Yeah, I agree with that entirely. Love is a feeling. Yeah. But loving something has no bearing on whether or not on any claim, right?
Yes.
In fact, a sociopath, or is it a psychopath? I forget which one doesn't feel love, can say, I love somebody, and that feeling doesn't actually exist for them. So.
Yes, by mouth. What I want to say exactly is that the claim that I make that God exists is not claim based on rationality, is not based on something quantifiable. For me, it's a taste thing. I feel that God exists.
Right. And feeling is not a valid pathway to determine if a proposition is true.
Yes, it's the correct domain. Actually, God can only be felt, cannot be seen or touched. You can feel him only.
Okay, so the next time it's all hot and cranky, that's God too. I mean, how do you use feelings to prove the claim that 1 plus 1 equals 2? How do you use feelings to prove that claim?
No, that is nonsense. I cannot do that.
There we go. How would I use feelings to prove that this mouse exists?
I don't know. You cannot.
Right. So how do you use feelings to prove that money exists in your account?
You're just telling me that feeling doesn't work in the objective world. I know that already. The same way that objective.
Okay. So I want to objectively know whether or not God exists.
That is, it's not the correct way about looking for God. I'm telling you already. That way you will fail. There is no objective way to prove God.
Right, because God doesn't exist.
No. He exists. Just the same beauty exists.
No, beauty exists in the eye of the beholder. God does not exist in the eye of the beholder, does he?
I disagree that beauty exists in the eye of the beholder. That is
So the God exists in the eye of the beholder, and also
no. You know that beauty exists in the eye of the beholder. That's one position in philosophy. I think that beauty is objective. I mean, in a sense, I mean, you know, when someone
and how do you measure beauty if it's objective?
like, objective is a bad word. I want to say that it is universal. Let's say for me, for
Is
example,
it?
what I mean. Yes. You know, let's
So
say I watch a movie.
the Japanese have a style of music that they absolutely love, and I can't stand. How is it objectively true that is beautiful music if I disagree with it?
You know, in the correct place. Let's say something. Let's say I watched Game of Thrones, and you come and watched it, and I told you, oh, the movie is so great, and you tell me, no, it's completely shit. I didn't like it. You know what I tell you? I will not tell you that, oh, this is my. I will tell you basically you're tasteless. You don't have good taste.
And how would you prove that? Just because I don't like something you like,
I don't have to prove.
maybe you don't have good taste.
No, I know it. I don't have to prove it. I know it.
Right, but maybe you're the one without good taste. That's why you like the movie. How would we settle that?
But you can believe.
How do we settle the claim that you think that a movie is good and I think a movie is bad? How do we objectively settle those two claims about the same movie?
It's not in the world of quantifiable, so there is no settlement.
So it's just an opinion.
You can't.
Opinions aren't objective.
For me, it's not opinion. I'm sure 100% that you're tasteless.
Right, that's your opinion. You have nothing objective to back it up. Therefore, it is subjective and your opinion.
Yes, but you know, there's some things happen. Let me tell you that over time, most people think that Van Gogh is a great painter. You know.
So what?
Okay,
That's their opinion. Yes, that is the opinion of a lot of people. Has nothing to do with objective reality.
Yes, objective reality is not the only part in reality. There is a lot of beauty is not in objective realm. So does that mean it's not real, or it is just in the eye of the beholder? No, it's just that there is people who can feel better and people who can feel less. You know, simple as that.
So what? What does that have to do with the reality of anything? We keep coming back to the same problem, and you can't answer the question because feelings aren't something that's objective. They're not something that we can actually determine whether or not a claim is true. And I've already demonstrated that. You have no way to prove that a movie is good or bad. It's just your opinion, just like it's my opinion. And everybody has one, and sometimes they're different. And so you saying that God is nothing more than an opinion, I don't care about that. I don't care if it's just an opinion. I want to know if something is real.
You understand which different philosophical position that we are taking. For me, I'm saying that.
Yeah, you're just saying I feel it, therefore it is. And I'm saying that's not a valid pathway to find out if a proposition is true. That's all it is.
Let's take in beauty. You know, you are canceling a lot of things in your way.
No, we're talking about God, not beauty. Don't try and dance around the problem that you have.
No, I'm just using analogy. So for me, it's exactly.
Yes. In order to make an argument by analogy, the two things have to be in the same category. Beauty is not in the category of things that can be proven.
And
God is.
My thesis is that God is exactly like that. It felt it's not quantifiable. That is
okay. Then your God doesn't exist.
No, it exists. You know.
Yeah, and all I have to do is make you mad, and then you won't stop believing in God. I mean, that just seems like a really silly way to do things. So.
No, but I wish you understand what my thesis is.
Oh no, I understand what your thesis is. I just think it's BS. I think it's just complete and total utter rubbish. It doesn't prove God exists just because you feel it, and you can't prove anything exists just by feeling. Right?
You know, you underestimate feeling very badly. I think you love abstraction and.
Oh no, I understand feelings quite a bit. Anyway, Osama, thanks for attempting to have me look at the trees to prove God. And I've got some other folks who want to come on up, so I'm going to help let them come on up. But it has been a fun conversation. Thank you so much.
You too. Thank you.
All right, folks. That was weird. Don't forget to double tap that screen. Send me some presents if you want, gifts, whatever those things are. That would be nice too. And now we're going to bring up Happy days.
How's it going?
Not too bad. Are you over 18?
Yes, I am. I'm 23.
Fantastic. And what do you want to talk about?
Okay, so we can get the antics out of the way. Can you define subjective and objective?
Yeah, subjective is anything that exists outside of a mind. Subjective exists entirely within a mind.
Okay, cool. So when it comes to like definitions in of itself, would you concede that it's subjective?
Definitions, yes. The dictionary is descriptive, not prescriptive. However, saying that, it does mean that it provides the most common usages of words, which is kind of where I prefer to stay, just to prevent redefining things just to fit your argument.
Wait, but the problem is if we define words however we see fit, then at that point words can mean whatever the fuck we want.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, with us not actually having like a true set of definitions, then at that point everything in of itself is going to have to.
No, the definitions in the dictionary are the most common usages of the words, and which is why you will see multiple words sometimes have multiple usages.
Wait, that doesn't matter, because if we're talking about the most common uses in of itself, if we determine that hi tomorrow means goodbye, then at that point it would also be permissible.
Yes.
So if we're going off of the argument in of itself that we determine what words are and how it's going to be used, then at that point in of itself is going to be a social construct, and I don't really care. But
then you don't care what words mean? So
yep, we would have to explain and have some type of understanding between me and you what you mean by that. It doesn't matter what other people say.
And that's true of everything. Have you ever read a book in Old English, say from like the 14 or 1500s, 1600s?
I've read some from like the 15, 16.
Yeah, and words really, not only do words have changed their meaning over the centuries, but they also changed their spelling too, because spelling didn't really exist in the 14 and 1500s. It makes it a pain in the neck to go read old manuals. But yeah, words.
Because I'm also a libertarian, but when it comes to like words in of itself, it's going to be subjective, right?
Yes.
So, okay. When we talk about my argument, do you want premise 1, 2, and then 3, or how do you want this to go?
Well, let's give me P1.
P1, okay. P1 is everything that begins to exist has a.
Oh, are you going with Kalam?
Kalam, what do you mean?
The Kalam argument for God? Kalam cosmological?
Cosmological, yeah.
Everything that begins to exist has a cause. The universe began to exist, therefore the universe has a cause?
Yeah.
That's it? That's the Kalam cosmological argument.
It's either that or I can give you the alien dichotomy if you want that argument.
I don't care. You pick one.
Okay, let's go with the initial one that I started with then.
Okay, the Kalam. So first of all, notice that we don't get to a God.
Oh wait, if we get to a God, in of itself would have to prove that we came from somewhere.
No. So first of all, can you prove the universe began to exist?
Begin to exist, this would be the Big Bang. This is what we're able to know. Yes.
Big Bang, the hot Big Bang and the expansion at high energy does not assume that begins. That is just as far back as our understanding of physics goes. But that doesn't necessarily mean that that's where this universe actually began.
Wait, if we're talking about this universe or the situation that is applicable, all we understand was before the Big Bang there was dark and light matter. With the situation...
No, there was no matter before the Big Bang. There was just, it was a high energy state with low entropy.
Wait, so there was nothing before the Big Bang, or was there something there?
Nope, I didn't say there was nothing. I said the Big Bang was high energy. There was no matter. It was energy.
Okay, cool. Does energy always exist?
As far as we know, energy cannot be created nor destroyed.
Wait, but over time, energy will be going downhill when we look at any type of...
No, entropy. Yes, and that's what we're seeing, right, is that, well, we don't really know the expansion of the universe, all that good stuff. But the bottom line is that we don't know if this universe began to exist. We don't know if it did begin to exist in the sense that the Kalam means it, then we don't know whether that cause is natural or intentional, which is where you would have to go next, right? And because that cause could be natural, that cause could be anything. So you still can't get to a God.
Wait, but even with the situation being applicable, you brought up the energy aspect, and with the cosmic before the situation of the Big Bang, with the action taking place, when we say energy or anything like that, energy will always get deappreciated, or I don't know, English is my second language. Energy will always be not expanding, but will always decelerate in of itself.
Entropy, yes, entropy decreases over time, yes.
So no matter what, it's going to decrease. So if we're talking
the total energy of the universe is zeroes out, is my understanding.
Wait, based off of what? Because when I've read into the situation, I've saw otherwise. And if you want me to get the sources, I can real quick.
Yeah, I mean, we can take a look at them, but honestly, you still have to prove that it has a cause, and if energy always exists, then you can't use that as a cause, right?
If you're saying energy has always existed and will always exist, if I go put gas in my car, will there always be energy there, or will it get will it run out?
Well, so we're using energy in the loosest sense of the word. Gas is a particular type of energy, so no. And if you look at, that brings us up to, entropy increasing over time. Is it entropy over time?
I don't think entropy increases over time.
Hold on, I have that somewhere. Oh, I don't have that in my notes. Why don't I have thermodynamics? There we go. Heat always moves from hotter to colder objects unless heat is added to the objects. Another way to understand this law is that entropy, a physical property of a thermodynamic system, cannot decrease in isolated systems. There is always reach a state of thermodynamic equilibrium. So yes, that is exactly what we're seeing. And life forms have a tendency to be really, really good at doing that. So, for instance, if we were to leave gasoline in the ground, it would take a really, really long time for that gasoline to turn into energy, but we make it happen faster because, well, we turn it into gasoline and then burn it. These are just things that happen, right? And again, we're still not getting to a God, so let's forget the energy conversation and get to a God.
Wait, the energy conversation leads into God, because if we're talking about cold in of itself, what happens when energy reaches cold? At some point,
what does cold mean?
Yeah, where it's to the point where energy does not do anything.
Energy does not do anything. What does that mean?
So, like, for example, if you want me to give you like a hypothetical, if we get to a point, let's just say so beyond cold, that force or any type
well, you keep using cold like it has a definite meaning. What is cold in terms of degrees Celsius, degrees Kelvin, Fahrenheit? What does that mean?
Yeah, the lack of any type of resources to give it heat or any other actions.
Okay, so 0 degrees Kelvin is what you're talking about, and you can't go lower than that.
Yeah, like absolute bare. There's no heat at all. There's nothing to be able to perceive the heat or any situation is applicable. When it comes to like thermodynamic or energy in of itself, what happens when we reach absolute cold?
We don't. Systems reach equilibrium, not absolute cold.
Okay. Sorry, English. But if we reach the absolute bare bones where it cannot get any heat or any situation like that, what happens to energy inside of it?
Nothing. I mean, energy, it reaches an equilibrium and it stays there.
Okay, cool. So if we're talking the situation before the Big Bang with any type of force or any type of, let's just say, for you, energy in this situation, without energy having any type of heat, it would not be able to expand.
No. You're completely confusing things now. So there are multiple types of energy, and some of that energy are the quantum fields, right? And we know that those always exist because we have tried to prove that absolute nothing exists and have failed. So you're always going to have the quantum fields, and that is energy. So energy and heat. I mean, heat is the result of basically molecules are rubbing together. If you don't have molecules, then you can have high energy, but you're not going to have heat. And you're confusing these things completely. And I would highly recommend that you go and talk to an actual physicist, like Dr. Blitz, who is on TikTok. And I believe he's actually doing Ask a Physicist Day. So he can actually deconfuse you on all this completely. But energy and heat don't have anything, and saying that something is equilibrium is not the same as saying the temperature is an absolute zero. And it's also not the same thing as equilibrium.
Wait, if we're talking about zero Kelvin, where an energy or any type of molecules cannot move, what happens then?
No, energy doesn't move; it fluctuates. Molecules move, and they stop moving at zero degrees Kelvin. E equals mc squared means that mass at some point is energy at the square of the speed of light. You're just confusing too many topics, and unfortunately, I am not enough of a physicist to deconfuse you.
What's the name of the? Oh wait, what was the name of this physicist? I will go look at him.
Dr. Blitz is an actual PhD doing actual research. All right. Yeah. I feel sorry for Dr. Blitz trying to deconfuse him. Cold is the absence of heat, yes, but it doesn't mean anything. It has, as far as what you're talking about, energy. Yeah, and we can't reach 0 degrees Kelvin. I'm well aware. Energy is matter with potential. Yeah, and unfortunately, my understanding of physics is not good enough to actually help. I apologize for that. But the Kalam does not get you to a God. And it's entirely possible. Dr. Blitz had a TikTok on this, and I really wish I had. I think I did save it. And then there's also, I just saved this book. If you really want to get into it, I have to sign in. Let me look at heat is of a particular type of energy, yes. But it's energy that only, if you go down below the atomic scale, there is no heat. Yeah, but I'm sending this guy to him, so did I put it in? There it is. Nope, I didn't put it in that list. I must have put it in reading list. No, I didn't do that either. Where did I put this thing? Alex O'Connor had these guys on there. Anyway, folks, double tap, do all the good things, share my stream, I appreciate it. And next up is, let's see, Jomar is coming up. Maybe. Still spinning. Okay, Jomar, I'm sorry you're just spinning there. I'm going to disconnect you. If you want to come back in, try it again. That would be fine. Bailey Panama, you're up next. Are you over 18?
Yes.
Fantastic. And what do you want to talk about today?
Oh, are you an atheist?
Yes, I am.
Wow, interesting. Man, you guys, I envy you guys, man. You guys have a lot of faith, man. Hey, let me ask you something.
Please don't quote Turek. He's a really, really bad apologist. But yeah, no. So by definition, we don't have faith. And the problem that you're going to run into is that atheism is not a worldview, unlike Christianity. Theism, a theist, someone who believes that there are one or more gods, also does not have a worldview. We just have a position on a single claim. So everything else is up for grabs. I have met atheists who were spiritualists and believe in ghosts. I have met atheists, and technically Buddhism is also, Buddhists are also atheists. So anyway, you were saying?
Like I said, my thing is this, right? Why do you guys believe, right, the earth created you?
I don't believe the earth created me. I believe that my parents had sex.
No, okay, no problem. The reason the humankind exists, right, is that the earth will have to be so first. In order for you to be here, the earth will have to create itself. And then
No, the earth doesn't. So the earth didn't create itself. The earth was created out of a spinning disk that also created the sun and the rest of the planets.
it was created out of a spinning disk.
Yeah, spinning disk of basically space dust. Yes.
Okay, no
To
problem.
oversimplify the whole thing. Yes.
Okay, I'm going to still prove my point because in order for you to be here, the meteors in the rocks will have to come together to form the earth. Yes or no?
Yeah.
Good. Now that let's say that that process is completed, right? Now you got the atmosphere and things like that, and the sun just in the right position and everything.
And then
And
abiogenesis
now we have the
happens.
perfect. Now we have the perfect weather, right, for life. Okay, good. Now that we have the perfect weather for life, right? The rocks already came into place and everything. Primordial soup. After the primordial soup appeared, right? The single cell organism came out of the primordial soup and became the first living organism.
Yeah, you're
So
missing a
now
whole
the
bunch of
earth,
abiogenesis steps, but yes.
right. But none of these things will take place unless these rocks come together.
Yes.
So the earth created you, my friend.
Yeah, essentially we're all made out we're all made out of star
But you
stuff
said
from a
no.
certain point of view,
You
but
said no.
yes.
Yeah, but you said no at first. But you see how I walked you down to, and now you see what I'm saying? Okay, no problem.
No,
Now,
so
now let's go.
the reason why I said no was because I didn't understand what you meant by earth created. No, the earth doesn't create, right? This is the first problem, is that there is no creation implies an intent, and there was no intent.
Oh, that's okay. That's fine, man. We don't have to talk about. I just wanted to just show you the point that you believe that the earth made you. That's the point.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're all earth stuff. Yes.
Right. Yeah. So the earth made you. So the rocks and everything that came together on the earth, you came out of you came out of the earth, meaning you came out of the rocks, non-living materials. That's what you believe.
Well, yeah,
Thank
abiogenesis
you.
to evolution. Yes.
Thank you. Okay, now we go. Now we can go to the second phase. Good. Because a lot of time we get stuck to the first phase. You graduated to the second phase that quickly. I like that. You're not trying to dodge and everything. You answer the
Hey,
question
just
honestly.
don't butter me up. Just make your point and get to it. Yeah, I'm already bored.
No problem. Where in the world did these elements come up with the genome strand? The DNA that goes all the way to the moon and back 40 times. How did that come to be coming from rocks?
Abiogenesis.
Sir, I know about the Uri Miller experiment.
There's
And the
more
Uri
than
Miller
just that. I mean, the Uri Miller experiments was the 1960s, and it's been 65, 70 years since then. We've done a lot more experience than just Uri Miller experiments, and the Uri Miller experiments did demonstrate one way something could happen as part of the entire abiogenesis chain of things that has to happen. And abiogenesis is a hypothesis, which it is right now. We're missing a few steps in there. Is actually more believable than your God speaking a spell to create the universe.
Okay. Notice you said that it's missing a few steps, but you
Yes, we
believe
don't know
it.
what those steps.
Okay.
We don't know how those steps could happen yet.
Right, but yet you believe it. That's faith. Okay.
No, I don't believe it. I accept it as true up to a point.
But sir, but did you
I
not say
apportion
that?
my belief to the evidence, and right now,
Sir.
abiogenesis is the better explanation for where life came from than your invisible sky daddy.
Okay, sir. Did you not say that you're missing steps?
Yes. And
Okay,
I also said, hold on. I also said, if you're going to quote me accurately. I said we're missing step, and I apportion my belief to the evidence.
No, you can't. Okay, I don't know how you're going to do that if you're missing steps.
Because I apportion the belief. I only believe as far as the evidence shows me.
Well, the evidence doesn't.
And
show
what's
you
your
how
evidence for God? This is a long chain of garbage that doesn't get us to why do you believe your God exists?
Oh, I believe my God exists because Genesis made a claim in Genesis 1:29. It said that God created the seeds, plant life, and he spread it all over the world. And that's what
So
we
what?
see.
Why do I
No
care what the
problem.
book
No
says?
problem. No problem. But that's what we see. A God should be able to create things in nature that his creation cannot do. So we see the plant cells. We see the plant cells and how they're designed, and we see the DNA in them. The thing is that we can take the information from what already exists and probably clone it. But one thing you will never be able to do, sir, is create your own genome.
So what? That doesn't prove that God exists.
Sir, listen, sir.
It doesn't prove your God exists. Genesis doesn't prove your God exists.
Sir, can I land my plane, man?
You did. You did. You believe because the Bible, because you believe the Bible, because you believe the Bible was influenced or written by God, and around and around we go.
You're so religious. You didn't even let me land my plane, man. Just relax. Let me land my plane. Then you can say all that, bro. Man. So you could take the seed that already exists. You could take the information in it, and you could actually modify it. You can do that. That's fine. That's no problem. You can clone it, do whatever. You could okay, good. But one thing you will not be able to do is create your own DNA strand and build around it. And not only build around it, but have that host.
Prove that we are never going to be able to create our own DNA strand. Prove that.
Sir, did you hear what I said?
Yes, prove it.
Sir, okay. I'm about to say it again because you missed what I said. We would not be able to create a DNA strand and
yes, and that is what the claim I want you to prove. Yes, because you said exactly what I am asking you to prove. And I want you to prove that we cannot create DNA strands. That we will never be able to create DNA strands.
That's why you guys don't. You didn't even let me land the most important thing. I said we will not be able to create DNA strands and build a host around it.
And again, prove that we'll never be able to do that.
Okay.
You're making a claim that we're never going to be able to create life. I'm asking you to prove it.
The reason I pause, because the only way for you to do that is to miraculously bring forth a DNA strand from nothing.
No, not from nothing. From existing elements.
Exactly.
And yes, and you've got to prove that we can't do that. You have to prove that we'll never be able to do that.
Right, sir, there no elements. You have to copy from the DNA strand. You can't take any other elements. You have to copy from the DNA strand.
DNA strands are made from what I was referring to as the elements. It has to be made from chemicals. Yes. So you need to prove. You need to prove one simple thing, that we will never be able to figure out how to create our own DNA strands.
Because the Urey-Miller experiment failed to build a whole...
Urey-Miller experiment was 65 years ago. We've progressed since then. Don't refer to it. Because you don't know enough about it to actually refer to it. But we've done a whole heck of a lot more than that. And when you say Urey-Miller experiment, you should probably also tell me which one, because they did 3.
Okay, all right, no problem, man. Okay, so the Urey-Miller experiment didn't show anything. They didn't build around it. They didn't build any type of organism that's living or able to...
And where, can you show me, can you quote for me, where in the Urey-Miller experiment they said they were attempting to actually create life?
Okay, I will show you that it failed to self-replicate. I can get you that.
Can you tell me where they attempted to do that?
Okay.
Can you tell me what? Can you give me a brief? Can you tell me what the actual summary of the experiment is?
Right. So, if you go to your Google and you could type in that the Urey-Miller experiment, did it show that the organs or the cells or whatever were able to self-replicate?
No, that's not the point. That was not the point of what was the point of the Urey-Miller experiments? It wasn't to prove that something can self-replicate.
No problem. Why can't it self-replicate?
Again, that wasn't the point of the Urey-Miller experiments. And by the way, we can get chemicals to self-replicate.
Oh my goodness, man. So how was everything able to reproduce, self-replicate? How was it able to do that if we can, sir? How was it able to do that if you can't show it?
So we're talking about the Miller-Urey experiments, and you have no idea. So here, hold on. Here's it from my favorite source, Wikipedia. The Miller-Urey experiment, or Miller experiment, was an experiment in chemical synthesis carried out in 1952 that simulated the conditions thought at the time to be present in the atmosphere of the early pre-biotic Earth. It was seen as one of the first successful experiments demonstrating the synthesis of organic compounds from inorganic constituents in an origin of life scenario. It goes on from there. There's nothing here. It was not an attempt to actually create life from scratch. It was an experiment to determine if we could actually get from non-biotic chemicals to prebiotic chemicals, and they proved we could.
man.
There's nothing about
Doesn't matter, man.
self-replication in there.
You have
Yes,
faith.
it does.
Okay. You have faith, man. Okay.
No.
That is
So you know that
Sir,
chemicals
sir, let
you
me
know that
speak, man.
chemicals can self-replicate, right? You know that we have chemicals that can do that.
Can it make something else?
Yeah.
Like
It's
what?
just chemistry. That's all DNA is, chemistry.
Like what? Like what?
Oh, let me go see. What do we got here? What are self-replicating chemicals?
Wait a minute, let me ask you something. How did you skip from
Here you go. You're going to look for autocatalysis. A self-replicating molecule speeds up the reaction that produces more of itself.
Sir, how did you skip?
Ribosomes, we can do it with ribosomes, peptide systems, and simple molecules. So we can replicate all of those with chemistry, and DNA is chemicals.
Sir, from the Euro-Miller experiment, it didn't do that. You will have to skip
It wasn't supposed to do that. It wasn't supposed to do that.
See, man, you will have to skip the process, right, and start from. So you cannot show.
No, Miller-Urey was not. You are so confused.
It's over. Hey, listen, man. Listen, no problem. Listen, man. You have host. You have never seen DNA increase its information to cause any organism to change into a macro evolution.
So, all right. So you want to talk about evolution? What's the definition of evolution? The modern definition of evolution?
You keep saying all right. What you mean by all right? What do you mean? You said all right.
Can you please define evolution for me and give me the modern definition of evolution?
I'll tell you what it is. It's a slow, gradual process from one organism to another.
Nope. Wrong. Completely incorrect, and so far off, it's not even funny.
Tell me that.
You know, so the definition of the modern can't speak today. The modern definition of evolution is the change in allele frequency over time in a population. An allele is a common set of genes that encode for a particular feature, such as eye color. So if you're going to deny evolution, you have to deny genes exist.
Wait a minute. Wait. What you mean eye color? Start from the beginning of. Wait a minute. Listen, sir. Wait.
Oh, so when I gave you the definition of allele frequency and you told me to stop talking about eye color, you didn't understand what I was talking about because you weren't listening.
No problem, man. It's still going to refute.
So an allele
Tell me what it
is the group. Alleles are the group of genes that encode for a specific body feature, such as eye color.
Eye color.
Yes,
hey, sir.
Eye color is controlled by genes.
No problem, sir. Listen to me. Start from the first single cell organism. Start there.
I did. It's a change in allele frequency over time in a population.
Sir, listen. Sir, in order for that single cell, in order for that single cell organism to evolve into something else, like the primordial soup, it was a bacteria first. I need to know from that bacteria what did it evolve to?
It eventually evolved in a multicellular organism and then eventually on forward.
Right. Slow, gradual process. Good. Okay, good.
It's not slow. No, not necessarily slow. And time has nothing to do with the definition. You're just completely wrong.
Sir, I'm walking you through it again, just like how you admitted you came from the earth. Listen. So after the bacteria, what's the next step? You said what's the organism?
There is no step. This is the problem. It's the change in allele frequency.
Gosh, bro, this guy. Hey, host, I'm gonna walk you through this, man. I'm gonna show you your delusion. Okay, so from the first single cell organism, what was the next step? What it changed to? What was it?
There's no such thing as the next step. That's the problem you're having.
But it will have to, sir. But it can't stay a primordial soup because it eventually have to evolve into something.
Right.
What did it evolve to? Right. What was it?
So it didn't evolve to anything. It just simply evolved. This is the problem that you're having.
Okay, to what? To what was it? What was the creature? What was it?
We don't know because we don't have any records of going back that far.
Thank you. So you believe it? It's a faith.
Yeah. Do you know why I believe it?
No problem. I will respect.
Do you know why? Hold on. Do you know why I believe it?
I'm going to help you out. Okay, I'm going to help you out.
No, you're not. Do you know why I believe it?
Sir, I'm going to help you out. I'm going to say it's a fish. I'm going to say it was a fish. Okay.
Nope, can't be a fish.
Okay, what was it? You just said you don't know.
Right, but it can't be a fish because a fish is far more complicated.
Okay, tell me what
and you're also talking about steps, and there's no such thing as steps in evolution.
Sir, do you know you don't know?
I know how evolution works, dude.
Okay. So you don't know what's the next step from the bacteria to whatever it is.
No, it has to be a multi-cell. Hold on. It has to shut up. It has to be a multicellular organism.
Okay. Okay, from a multicellular organism, no problem. Okay, and then what it changed to next? What was it next? What it became?
It just kept evolving.
To what? What was the first?
There's no. See, this is the problem you have. There's no such thing as steps. Species.
I'm not saying steps.
Yes, you are. You keep asking, what's the next step?
It has to be steps.
No.
It has to be steps.
It's not the way this works.
Okay,
it's not the way evolution works.
If it's not called steps, what you call it?
Evolution.
Okay. So evolve.
It's a change in it's the change in the frequency of genes that encode for a particular trait, right? And
like
so
robots, man. They just repeat what the science books say. They don't know nothing. Listen.
I know. Oh, I know more than you.
Yeah, man. You're indoctrinated, man. Listen. From the bacteria, it evolved into what? What was the organism? What was it? How did it look like?
It didn't evolve into anything. We're still evolving. Everything is still evolving. This is the problem. So how do you define, yes. So let me help you out here, dude. What is the definition of species?
You just skipped the whole step and went straight to life.
No, I didn't. Bacteria are alive.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. All right,
bacteria are alive. By definition, they are alive. So do you know what the definition of a species is?
Okay. Sir, stop running from me, man. I'm asking about the bacteria. I want to know, what did the creature look like when it evolved into the next step?
So there again, you're using steps. So because you're thinking of species and you don't know what species are. Can you give me the definition of species?
Sir,
can you give me the damn definition for species, or shut the fuck up?
I'm asking you.
I'm losing my temper here. So the definition of species is the largest group of organisms in which any two individuals of the appropriate sexes or mating types can produce fertile offspring, typically by sexual reproduction. It is the basic unit of classification and a taxonomic rank of an organism, as well as a unit of biodiversity. What's the problem with this definition when it meets reality?
Sir, your experiment failed to show that anything could self-replicate. We can't make anything like that could self-replicate. So,
yes. Okay? Go look at autocatalysis. Go look at go study some chemistry. In fact,
wait a minute.
Not only do you, I can't believe I'm going to do this, but
man,
just go look at chemistry, because we can. We have basic peptide systems. We have a number of systems that self-replicate. So you're just completely wrong on this. You don't have anywhere near the scientific background to make the claims that you're making.
Okay, self-replicate to what? To a useful DNA strand?
That wouldn't be self-replication, would it?
Right, but we can't do it.
Yes, we can. We have chemical self-replicating. We have a lot of chemicals that we can self-replicating. Some of which we actually do it.
Okay, how can that happen if you haven't built the host around the DNA strand?
You don't have to build the host around the DNA strand.
Sir, you can't just leave the DNA exposed at sunlight. You got to build the host around the DNA strand.
Everything moves slowly. Yeah, oh God, you're just real. Hold on. I got to get this thing going here. RNA. Oops. Damn it. Man, Google. Come on, man. RNA world hypothesis. So let me learn you some stuff. Proves that early life was based on ribonucleic RNA because it can store genetic information, act as a catalyst. In this hypothetical stage, before DNA and proteins, RNA molecules self-replicated and perform the necessary metabolic functions for early life to evolve. Yes, we have multiple hypotheses that show how DNA came out, and you really need to go do some original life research and go look at that, because You and the science just are
I looked
nowhere
at,
near
sir,
each other.
sir, sir, I looked it up, man. I looked it up, and you sound like a
Would you?
robot. You're just reading off the book. That doesn't prove anything. It doesn't prove that we can make a functional. It doesn't prove. It doesn't show that we could create and design a functional
Yeah, we will
DNA
eventually
that
be.
can.
We can't do
So
it today. We will be able to eventually do it. It's
you
just
would
a
never be
matter
able
of
to do it.
time.
You would never. You would never be able to do it
And
because
you
you can't
can't prove
explain
that
what
we can
exists.
never do
You
something.
can't even
And we're
explain.
right back to it. You know so
Can't even
little
explain
about
what.
science and where we are. It's
Man,
just absolutely funny. Bailey, it was fun talking to you,
yeah,
even
look,
though
no,
you're
hold on. Let me say one more
completely
thing, man.
annoying and
Let me say one
ignorant.
more thing.
So,
Yeah,
no,
you
I
have
will
never
talk to you
seen.
later. Have a good one,
You
Bailey.
don't even.
There we go. And where are we at? All right, folks, like, subscribe. I guess it's actually double tap on TikTok. I'm too used to doing things on YouTube. And next up is going to be Ben. And Ben's coming up. Hey, Ben, are you over 18?
Yeah.
Fantastic. And what do you want to talk about?
I guess it will be the same thing the last guy was talking about.
Are you better educated on abiogenesis and all of the topics?
No. The I guess the only thing I believe in, I guess my belief, I'm kind of ex Jehovah's Witness.
Okay.
So me, I believe in I choose. I guess I choose to believe in a God.
Why do you choose to believe in a God?
The reason I choose to believe in a God is because I'm alive. And
You're
I'm
alive because your
alive.
parents had sex.
Right.
So how
Yeah,
does that prove a God?
that's how we reproduce. But I'm talking about the spirit that you have
What's
within
how do
you.
you know a spirit exists?
Well, the fact that you are alive, like for
That hasn't.
example,
No,
if
I'm
you
alive because of biochemical processes, not because of anything called a spirit.
right for like if you see a body that is not alive and a body that is alive, the only thing missing from that body is the spirit.
No, the only thing that's missing from that body is the ability to breathe, heart to pump blood, and a functioning brain, i.e., the biochemical processes of life.
Mm. Yeah, because I mean you can pump the heart, you can pump
Mm-hmm.
the lungs.
Yeah, CPR actually fakes having a heart pumping blood so that you could get blood to the brain, and then you also have to breathe. As long as the brain is functioning, you might be able to bring them alive. My girlfriend, who is a ICU nurse, points out that CPR works much better in the movies and TV shows than it does in real life. But either way, it doesn't prove that there's anything called a spirit and doesn't prove your God exists.
Yeah, like I believe that like okay, you know how your brains are electrical signals that it sends through your what do you call it, through your nervous system,
Yep.
and then animates your body. That energy, the
That's
energy, I believe that's part of the spirit.
biogenetically created electricity. And if your neurons don't, if you take a drug that messes with your neurons' ability to fire, you can kill yourself or hallucinate. Again, that energy is not spirit unless you're redefining spirit to mean energy, or to in this case mean the electrical spark between the neurons.
Yeah, that would be the spirit.
So the spirit
That would be
is
spirit.
electrical sparks. So when I rub my feet on
The
the
energy.
floor in the winter and I get and I touch a doorknob, that spark is God?
No.
No. So what's the difference between that spark and the spark between neurons?
It's animating your body. Is keeping you alive. So like
And
you're saying,
how is that a
that
spirit? Again, that's just
that
biochemical
well,
processes.
right, because like let's say you create a spark and you try to put it in somebody's brain that is not alive. You're not gonna make them come alive, even if you pump their blood and if you pump their heart,
And
even if you pump. Well, that I'm saying is different energy. It's not the same.
No, it's electricity. It's the exact same thing as what's running the internet and allowing us to talk to each other. It's all electricity.
Yeah, I don't think you can do it though. Like if there's a person
So
beside
what if we can't do it? It doesn't change. It doesn't change the fact that the spark between neurons is the same electricity as all other electricity. It's just electricity. It's all the same.
but that's what I'm saying. If you put electricity in the brain, it's not going to bring the person back to life.
So what?
Even if we do everything to the body.
Yeah, because it's not just putting electricity back in there. It's getting the chemicals to produce the electricity that needs to happen.
Yeah, but it's I don't know. I guess that's my belief. That's why I believe that. Like, and it's I feel like it's
Well, you've got homework too. You need to go study how the brain actually works, and you need to go look at neuronal ganglia and how all that works. And then you realize that there's no such thing as spirit.
The only thing is that if the spirit was not real, like I guess we would all be NCPs, like non-playable characters. Like nothing would matter. Like it would be like you're just dust. You're nothing. Like you're saying that once you pass, your body's just gonna I guess turn back to dust, and you see.
Yeah, that's exactly what happens. Bodies rot.
Right. Right, but I'm talking about the energy that animated you. That is not there anymore. That's a spirit. I believe that.
Oh, so the spirit is electricity.
So I believe that.
So the spirit is biochemically created electricity. That's what you believe.
Yes, but it's not the same. It's not exactly like that. Because
but the problem is that the brain is exactly like that.
Well, that's the thing, like if you think it's so simple, then how come you can't bring someone alive? Someone does not.
I never said it was simple. I never said it was simple.
You're saying it's just electricity.
No, I'm saying it's biochemically created electricity. There's a whole difference. You can't just add electricity to the brain. You've got to get the chemicals in the brain to produce the electricity.
Right. So that's what I call the spirit. The thing that.
Yeah, you're calling the spirit biochemically created electricity.
Okay.
So it's a natural process.
Right, but if you are right, like, and another reason I believe is that like I want to be able to become one with the source. That's what Jesus was teaching. So like even your dreams, like how do you explain your dreams? How do you explain lucid dreaming? How do you explain astral projection?
Astral projection doesn't exist. Lucid dreaming is just dreams you pay attention to and remember when you wake up. No big deal. It's just dreams. Astral projection is a supernatural phenomenon that doesn't exist.
Lucid dreaming is actually controlling your dream and manipulating the world in your dream, like actually knowing that you are dreaming while you're dreaming. So you're dreaming, and whatever you think about, you can make.
No, not in reality. No, that would be a supernatural nonsense. Because see, if you could do that, if you could dream something into existence, why aren't you dreaming gold bars into existence right now?
No. I'm saying like in a dream, that's what lucid dreaming means. That you can create anything, but it's in your dream. It's not real.
Oh, okay.
Dream.
So it's all still biochemical processes happening in your brain.
Okay. Well, yeah, and the thing about it is that like if the spirit wasn't real, like you said, we would just cease to exist.
No, we wouldn't.
Like
we don't have spirit in the body, and you can't demonstrate that we do except by saying that a perfectly understandable biochemical process happening is spirit, and you're just redefining spirit to mean something that happens naturally.
Right, but what I'm saying is that if we didn't, or like let's say you're right, and we don't have a spirit, then that would mean that once you pass, you would cease to exist. You wouldn't.
Yes, exactly. We cease to exist. Yeah. Everything that was us ceases to exist. There is no supernatural anything.
Well, I feel like our energy, like you were describing, our energy takes our memories, and that's all we are, just memories.
No, because once the brain stops producing biochemically created electricity, the brain stops. That's brain death. We are dead at that point.
Yeah, the physical body, but then your spirit leaves. Your spirit's not there no more.
but it doesn't go anywhere. It can't go anywhere.
I mean, that's what energy does. It transforms. It goes somewhere.
No, it doesn't. It just stops because the energy stops creating. Once the electrical connection is done, it stops being. Right? It is a momentary flicker of electricity. Yeah.
Yeah,
I would highly suggest going over to consensus.ai. Consensus.ai is the only AI I know of that is trained on published papers, published in peer-reviewed journal papers. So it's a really, really great source, and it always gives you a full list of all of its sources. And also footnotes those for you, so you can look at a sentence it says and know where that sentence came from and why it thinks that, because of all the footnotes on it. And I would go look at how neurons communicate. I would go look at how the brain works, and it is all just natural processes. There is nothing supernatural about it at all. Anything else?
No. I think
Okay.
I'm good.
Thanks for the conversation, Ben. Alrighty, folks. Double tap. Hit all the do all the love things. If you can afford it, gifts would be nice. It would be so nice. What is Cody the Dragon doing? I'm not paying attention. Science is a practice for disseminating information. Publishing is the practice of disseminating information. Science is codifying, or not codifying, but explaining what the process was and what the results were. So, is Pipster giving empty threats? One day you'll have, oh yeah, Pipster. So just so you know, most atheists consider you'll find out when you're dead to be an admission that you have no logical reason to believe in your God. It's an admission of defeat. Put up a goal gem. Oh, I could do that. I didn't know it was a thing I had to do. Okay. Let me just do that and see how that works. I clicked the button, darn it. Oh, and share the live. Scientology claiming not to be a cult. That's always fun. Maybe it's something. Maybe if I do this. Okay. Maybe I can only do that. When I start the live, I'll look at it to figuring out how to do the goals thing. Okay. There is a chance, Mike Steer, that I could do CSI Con in 2026. Right now, 2026 is not looking very good. The body does, but out consciousness does. We came here to Earth. Pipster, I don't think that's a complete sentence. Shelly Belly, I am doing okay. Trying to make this TikTok thing replace my income because I don't have a job. And as a software engineer, that market just sucks. So now we have entered this world. Cody, what are you and T-Rex talking about? That may be the case. Bill Nye, Peter Hotez. Yeah, I don't know who those three are. Department of, I mean, they'll be interesting speakers. Pediatrics and molecular virology and microbiology. Vaccine scientists. That's going to be fun. And a stand-up comedian. So yeah. Well, so science is two things. Science is the process we do, and science is also the body of knowledge. And part of the process is to publish so that you can have your work checked. So what do you mean by science was invented? Modern science, the way we practice modern science, or are you talking about what people back, and at what point? So modern science is a process. I don't know when it became, because it was natural philosophy, right? Become science. Oh, there we go. Natural philosophy became modern science. Let me speak clearly. Natural philosophy became modern science gradually, beginning with the scientific revolution in the 17th century and continuing through the 19th century, when the term scientist was coined and specialized fields emerged. This transition was driven by the adoption of the scientific method, which emphasized observation, experimentation, and mathematical analysis over traditional philosophical reasoning. So, the scientific method was created. Natural philosophy is its predecessor. Cody, why don't you come on up? We can talk about it. Jim the atheist. Why is an atheist telling me that God loves me? That's like me telling an atheist preacher brother or sister, depending. Cody the Dragon, straight line on a swirl. What the hell is the swirl? Why don't you come on up and let's talk about it? Seriously. It's much easier. Just talk softly. But if you can't Google the history of science and figure that out, then I don't know what to tell you, because that's all I did was read right off of the AI overview, because it's nothing specific. It's pretty good. Jim, it should be XINU and it should be MTXINU, because Mount Xinu is not Unix. I gave you the answer of when did the word science become a thing? It was around the 19th century, 17th century. Before that, it was natural philosophy, and there was much more thinking than there was actual experimentation. Oh, I know, Jim. I prefer Mount Xinu because I'm a software engineer and have been for 30 years. And 30 years ago, Mount Xinu was a flavor of Unix. So, and it was literally Unix trademark backwards, Mount Xinu. And Mount Xinu is actually an acronym. It stands for, Mount Sinai is not Unix. All right. Up is Cedric. Hey, Cedric, are you over 18? Hey, Cedric.
Yes, mate. Over.
Fantastic. And what do you want to talk about today?
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, I just wanted to follow up with Cody. I was hoping you'd get Cody on as well.
He says he's someplace nice and quiet, and so can't. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what he's. Can you summarize what you guys are talking about?
I'm not absolutely sure, but Cody was bringing up words like science and Scientology like they're the same thing, and stuff like the scientific method and conflating scientists with science, and it was all very confused.
Yeah, sounds like it. I mean, scientists are people who do science, right?
Right, exactly.
So
the scientific method, which you just read out succinctly, it describes it pretty clearly, and as you said, you can just Google that stuff and see what the...
Yeah, it's all relatively recent history. I mean, it's the 17th or 19th century, so relatively recent history for a lot of for science anyway, right?
Yeah, something in the chat there. What is Christian Science? That's AKA bullshit.
Well, Christian Science is a denomination of Christianity.
Creationism. What's creationism, essentially?
Yeah, it's so it is. Creation Science is a Christian denomination founded by Mary Baker Eddy in 1879, centered on the belief that spiritual healing can be achieved through prayer based on teachings of the Bible and her book Science and Health with Key to the Scriptures. So it's BS. A claim is only valid under the only reality we care about is this one, Cody. You're just playing stupid games. I'm not sure we actually want to bring him up now. Oh.
Well, that's been Cody's jam from this whole conversation. He's just playing word games with Scientology and scientists and science in general. Like, it's just
he just may be trolling, trying to start an argument for no real reason.
Could be.
I can claim that Han shot first, and also claim that Han did not shoot first, and we also go back and look at the movie film. And oh, by the way, you have to look at the original Star Wars that came out in '77, because I believe Lucas changed it. So anyway, none of that has anything to do with it. So I don't know. I mean,
I just thought I'd try.
Yeah, if he comes back up, maybe.
I thought I'd try and set Cody straight on a couple of things, but
yeah.
But yeah, all right, I'll bail, mate. Cheers.
Okay, thanks, Cedric.
How do I get out of here, mate?
There's a disconnect button, or I can do it. There we go. Yeah, Cody, I think you're just not saying anything useful. At all. Looking for clues without a mystery. There are a number of scientific mysteries. There's also a number of mathematical mysteries that we can find clues for. So, oh yes, tap and share. I say useful things all the time. It was useful when I said I told my girlfriend I would help her unload her new tool chest. That was useful. Saying that 1 + 1 = 2 can also be useful. I just think you're playing antics with semantics, which is never any fun. Folks, tap, share, do all those fun things, I would appreciate it. There we go. And share to Facebook and Twitter and all the places. Thanks for sharing there, Firebrand. Yeah, there's also, well, if there's no God, there really can't be a hell, can there? Because the two things kind of go together for some really, really odd reason that I don't really understand. Why would those two things have to go together? I mean, if God is omnipotent, why does he have a enemy he can't beat? It just doesn't make any sense. Let me put, oops, keep editing. I'm live and talking to theists of all stripes. Join in the fun. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. That would be kind of interesting. What would happen if we combine Christian Science and Scientology? That would, oh boy, that would break some people, I think. We should do it just for fun, just to spread the chaos. But we already have Scientology. What would we call that abomination? Yeah, they get resurgences. I mean, it's well, I think that the reason we're seeing so many evangelicals coming out of the woodwork is because they're dying. I saw a really, really good analysis of going over that a couple weeks ago. It was awesome. No one knows a God. They only know about a God. Well, brain food. Some people claim they have a personal relationship with their God. I'm not sure if that's what you mean. Is that what you mean? Yeah, exactly. And also they were pointing out that when these things tend to die out, when these movements tend to die out, they tend to get more fundamental. So what would you say to somebody who says that they have a personal relationship with their God? Yeah, more radical. Oh, by the way, Jim, if I haven't said it before, you have a great first name. They are knucking futs. Okay. And they think you're knucking futs. So what? Where are we? And can you prove that your God exists? And would you like to come up and talk about it? Because talking to people is a lot more fun. Talking with everybody, brain food, I think. Oh, is he a fellow atheist? Is he just screwing with us? Okay. Tap and share. Thank you. Yes, tap and share. I don't say that often enough, mostly because I forget. And, you know, being on the atheist experience, really, being on any ACA shows, really, really, really spoil you, because they do so much behind the scenes, and they have so many good volunteers that do so much stuff that I don't have to do, and all I have to do is talk about it. They put stuff up on the screen, lower third, all that kind of good stuff. So, I forget about stuff. Well, I would say it's completely unfiltered, but Polito, thank you so much for admitting that you have no argument that your God exists. The whole thing, you'll find out. Angry? Do I sound angry? I am not angry. What is? I can look up the definition of monad, but I'm not going to. So, yeah, Polito, most atheists consider you'll find out when you're dead, whatever version of that you care to spew is an admission that you have lost the debate. And you apparently have lost the debate before you got started. So, why don't you come on up? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about your proof for God. I believe you find atheists. So what? Cody, can you prove your belief system is true? That's the one thing we care about. What does spiritual path even mean, Nuno? We don't know. God, just look at the trees. We already had that one. No, they never do. Yeah, we already had to look at the trees. I was literally the first person I had a conversation with. Oh, no, I can prove that the gods don't exist. And there are two. There are two arguments. First, the problem of evil makes the omni-God, the tri-omni-God, the omnipotent, omniscient, and omnibenevolent God logically impossible. And then 2,000 years ago, we had supernatural explanations for all kinds of things. And here we are 2,000 years later, and all those supernatural explanations have been replaced by natural explanations. Therefore, we do not have any reason to conclude that the supernatural exists to include your God. There you go. Cody, if you could prove God to me, that would be great. There is no escaping atheism. Atheism isn't something you escape. And so you believe in things because they can't prove it? Because you can't prove it exists? I can't prove right now, I can't prove that you're not three raccoons in a human suit. Does that mean you're three raccoons in a human suit? Or is it better to believe things when you have sufficient good evidence to warrant belief? So Cody, if you want to come on up, come on up. I don't know if you're still in that quiet place. Yeah, and the apologetic for that is kind of weak, Anna. Yeah, he didn't know where Adam was in the garden with Eve. The apologetic for that is, of course, well, God's doing I don't know where you are, in the same way that parents finding a child reaching in a cookie jar going, what are you doing? Even though they're looking at them putting the hand in the cookie jar. So I think it's a stupid apologetic, but it is one. Accepted without sufficient evidence, yes. What you believe is right in your heart, religion wasn't the greatest. How about truth is that which conforms to reality as adjudicated by its predictive power? Right? Because if you're going to believe, you can believe anything, but shouldn't you accept things as true with sufficient good evidence? God turned off all his all-knowingness, yes. Bicameral mind theory. Google bicameral mind theory. Early humans lacked modern consciousness and instead had a two-chambered mind where one part of the brain generated commands and the part perceived them as divine or authoritative. Interesting. Bicameral, that is an interesting, I would like to see some more on it, especially evidence for that. He means programming in terms of the mind, not programming language, Crowley. I'm a software engineer. Yeah. Well, yes, the natural world. Yeah, but yes, and spirituality and all the rest of it. What makes you think that the spiritual realm even exists? And come on up, double tap those screens and do all the sharing things. And gifts would be nice. Do I have? Okay. Yeah, apparently I can't get the promote thing to come up. So. Check the code you pinned. Where did you pin code? I don't know what you mean by pin code. I mean, there's a number of places where you can post code. Now that I think about it, spaghetti monster doesn't actually exist. That's why he's kind of up there and in the middle, and he's kind of looking like a weird hippie dude. And yes, if you're wondering, that was AI generated. I'm not that talented. GitHub's a place, but I have no idea what he's talking about. And all that good stuff. GitHub's awesome. It's not as good as, what was the old place before GitHub? SourceForge. SourceForge was better until it got bought and then turned into a complete dumpster fire. Yeah, many people have eaten the flesh of the spaghetti monster. String theory, meatballs, planets are shaped like meatballs. May you all be touched by his noodly appendage and covered in his sauce, which always sounds worse than it is. So does anyone want to come on up and talk about why they believe in God and obey the Bible? Specifically, 1 Peter 3:15. There we go. Always be prepared to give an answer to everyone who asks you to give the reason for the hope that you have. I'm asking for that reason. Yeah, especially if it's hot enough. Yeah, come on up, I think I can invite you. None of those are the option that I want. Let's hit the invite button over here. Spinning, spinning, spinning. All right, there you go.
Jim.
Hey, Nuno. I'm assuming you're over 18?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic.
44.
Yeah, you're still young.
I mean, spiritual is a word that I was taught, and I guess I use that a lot freely. I use it more freer than I should. It's more of a free thinking that I like to consider it.
Free thinking? How is free thinking spiritual?
Because I don't believe in what I've been taught. I was raised Catholic and it
Hmm.
was pretty hardcore Catholic. I've looked into Pentecostal, Buddhism,
Hmm.
Jehovah's Witness, and none of them have been able to answer any of the questions that I had. So then
Right.
I'm like, well, is there really a God? Why would God want somebody to pray to him, to ask him for things, and why would he be selective in those answers?
Right. Those are all really, really good questions. So why do you think that, but why use the word spiritual? Because that comes with a lot of supernatural baggage, right?
It really does, and I believe that there is a lot of supernatural stuff that goes on in the spiritual world. Every day we use magic. There's casting. There's words that are hidden in our daily text and our daily speech that we use that have a different meaning. You see what I'm saying?
No, I don't know what spellcasting is, and I don't know. It sounds supernatural, which I don't accept as true.
Okay,
And
so
yeah,
the
words
word
have multiple
blessed.
meanings. So what?
Yes, they do. So the word blessed is a word that I no longer use because it's two words actually, and it's be less. You see what I'm saying? So I don't use the
No,
word
it's not
blessed.
spelled
The
that
word,
way, and that's not the etymology of the word.
okay, what is the etymology of the word then?
I
What
may
is
have
the
used
root word?
etymology incorrectly. History of the word blessed. Originates Old English verb bledsein, or bledsein, which means to consecrate or make holy by blood. So yeah, it's not two words put together. It actually comes from the Old English. You there? Nuno? All I'm seeing is a coffee cup. I'm not hearing you. I mean, I don't use blessed either just because I don't. Oh, it looks like you're back.
Yeah, sorry, I don't know what happened. I tried to switch over to get into my notes, but I couldn't use the split screen, so I don't know if it didn't
Yeah,
allow me to
you
switch
can't
over
you
there.
can't scroll away from the app on the phone, so you've got to use a different device if you're going to do that. But the word blessed is an Old English verb that means to consecrate or make holy by blood. It doesn't mean be less. It's not a combo of those two words.
Okay, then what about the word morning?
MOURN or morning as in AM.
See, it's the way that we speak it. I guess I'm not the frequency. I guess that it carries. So
The
it ends up starting
frequency,
with
what does that mean? Everybody speaks it with
the
a.
vibration. Everything is frequency. Everything is
No, it's
vibration. That's
not.
been scientifically proven.
No, it hasn't.
How not? How not?
Because you're completely misunderstanding what quantum mechanics is.
Okay, and what is that? Explain to me quantum mechanics.
Oh boy, I will give you.
In a dulled down version, because I
Oh,
don't
there is no
understand
such
it.
thing as dulled down for quantum mechanics. It is the physics of the subatomic world explaining how particles like electrons can exhibit both particle and wave-like properties and have discrete energy levels. That has nothing to do with everything vibrating, because that is not what is happening.
What is going on? Like honestly, what do you believe? I mean, how do you come to your conclusion? I'm here to listen. I'm not here to judge. I'm here to
Oh,
listen
I
to
study
how
I
you
study science all the
gain your
time.
opinion.
I read as much scientific content as I can because I find it interesting and entertaining.
Mm-hmm. So you don't believe in science, or
No, I believe in science. I just don't believe in anything supernatural. I have no reason to believe anything supernatural. When over the last
so
2,000 years, we had, 2,000 years ago, we had supernatural explanations for a whole bunch of stuff. And now we don't have any supernatural explanations for anything. So why would anything supernatural actually exist?
hmm. So yeah, that's a good question. Question I wouldn't have ever thought to ask myself.
Yeah, and that is I mean, it's pretty fundamental. When you go and you look at, 2,000 years ago, why were there storms? Oh, because the storm god got angry. Now we know we know a lot more about weather, and we're able to forecast it pretty accurately.
For sure.
But when you were talking about frequencies and the spoken word, the frequency that the audio that you're hearing is vibrations in the air, and that is not the same thing as the wave-like properties of a quantum particle. That's the problem.
So whenever you speak it, does it not? It's just vibration, is what you're saying?
It's vibrations in the air. It's vibrations through matter. Quantum mechanics is not the wave-like properties of electrons and other particles is not the same thing. So there's the problem with quantum mechanics is that we don't know exactly, or my understanding is that we don't know exactly how quantum mechanics becomes Newtonian mechanics. We don't know how that actually happens, because quantum mechanics is all about statistics, and that's not the same thing as what we see in the Newtonian, in what we perceive.
Yeah, our perception is not as advanced as I'd like it to be, for sure.
Well, our eyes, ears, nose, mouth, all of our senses are not, but our ability to detect things in the subatomic level is quite impressive.
And by that, you mean to detect things as in supernatural?
No, we have not been able to detect anything supernatural. In fact, I forget what the foundation was. Randy, someone remind me of Randy the magician. James Randi, his foundation and him had a $1 million prize for well over a decade. Anybody who could prove that the supernatural actually existed. Nobody was able to do that. The Heritage Foundation, not the Heritage, there's a Christian foundation that attempted to prove that that prayers had some effect on medical recovery, and in fact, they proved the exact opposite. Not only did they prove that prayers had no effect on medical recovery, that if the person knew they were being prayed for, then that would actually statistically increase the likelihood of a complication in a statistically significant way. So, yeah, we don't have any good reason to believe that the supernatural exists at all.
How do we explain what we would call supernatural phenomenon, as far as ghosts, poltergeists, egregores?
They don't exist.
Is that just a belief?
They don't prove that they exist.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. I haven't seen no proof.
Right. And is it
videos of the cabinet slamming, the beds lifting, stuff like that, But you never see proof that it actually exists. You see the electrical fields; they carry their little meters and stuff. They do measure the difference in the air, I guess, or whatever it is, the frequency, vibration, or however you explain it. But it hasn't been proven 100%. So.
Well, it hasn't been come even close to halfway there. So,
yeah.
Since beliefs inform actions and actions have consequences, do you think it's a good idea to believe in things that you have no evidence for?
No, I don't. That's called blind faith.
Okay. But you were just talking about spiritual things earlier. So spiritual, every usage of the word I'm aware of for the word spiritual connotates some sort of supernatural claim.
Well, it's because I've been, like I told you, I come from a very religious background, and I've been on this path of what is and what isn't. What I thought was spirituality, that's the only way that I could label it, because I wasn't religious. I didn't follow any religion structure. So that was the word that I was taught to. Hey, this is what you're doing. You're on a path of spirituality, finding yourself or finding your God in you. You see what I'm saying? So it's just a word that I hung on to, I guess, and used a lot freely than I should have.
Yeah, because it carries a lot of baggage, and you should speak. You should try and use words with some degree of precision. I mean, it's very difficult. So, Because words are fluid, right? They change meaning over time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, bad is bad, but cool is a rule. The old Huey Lewis and the News song. You know, there was a time when the word bad meant cool and also meant bad, back in the 80s when I was a teenager. So, you know, the kids today are using words in different ways than we did when we were kids and that we do now.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to look up a different word to describe what I am and what I'm looking for. You know, I guess.
well, I would suggest if you don't believe in a God, then you're an atheist,
Well,
or at
it's not
least an
really an
agnostic.
atheist because, yeah, I say more Gnostic. I would do the more, the Gnosticism before anything
Yeah.
because I'm on the path of knowledge right now, I guess, is what you'd say, right?
Well, so Gnosticism is a religion and is a belief that in the typical usage of the word.
Mm-hmm.
Agnosticism is simple. You don't know.
Okay, so yeah, I was way off on the definition of Gnosticism and being a Gnostic. See, I thought it was all about the pursuit of knowledge. That that's what they were
Well,
on, was
it's
the pursuit of
a
knowledge.
spiritual and philosophical movement that flourished in the early Common Era, defined by the belief that salvation is achieved through a special secret knowledge. So you are
Mm-hmm.
correct, but it's still a religion. Well, spiritual and philosophical
Yeah.
movement. I would call that a religion, but yes.
Yeah, see, no, I find truth in a lot of religions, which is crazy. A lot of people don't like that. I even find truth in some, it's
Well,
gonna sound crazy, but some Satanists, some
well,
of them speak a lot of
so
truth too.
the Satanic Temple are atheists. They use Satan as a symbol and nothing more. They don't believe the Church of Satan, on the other hand, does believe in a literal Satan. So it depends on which Satanist you're talking about. But when you talk about, say that you find truths, I picked up a lot of moral lessons from science fiction and fantasy books. And good science fiction will actually teach you some science along the way. Well, great science fiction will. But science fiction itself doesn't depend on the physics being real. So, but yeah, I would say that you're either an atheist if you. So some people use the word atheist when they're really agnostic because it's easy because then they don't have to explain what they mean by agnostic, which is
Yeah, I don't
why,
understand that term for sure.
yeah. So I used to use the word atheism because it was easier than using agnostic. But now I'm definitely believe that no gods exist. I make the claim that no gods exist. So, and that's where I'm at now. But that was a slow process. I am also a recovering Catholic. So,
Oh, so you've been through the brainwash too?
yeah. I went to CCD and I went to, churches or school at the parishes there. Yeah,
Yeah,
the whole nine yards.
it, it's rough coming back from that, and I guess that's where I'm at. I've been on this path of knowledge. I can't call it spiritual anymore, but for a while now, and I've looked into a few different religions, and like I said, I think they all have truths, and most of it is just about being a good person.
Well, and it depends on what you mean by good person, right? Because
I
the
mean,
goddess
there's a
Kali is the goddess of death, and killing people is a good thing.
yeah, in their world for sure. But I mean, it's all
So,
about the balance of the positive and the negative. Because
well,
you don't got to walk around and just be this holy person helping everybody out, but you also don't have to put up with anybody's shit. You see what I'm saying?
yeah,
And
well,
as bad as
helping
that
people out
sounds,
doesn't mean you're
that's
putting up people's shit. But yeah, I get what you mean. But
yeah.
yeah, there are a number of
Definitely
former
opened up my
pastors,
eyes,
former
man.
priests that are atheists now too. It's a long
Yeah,
process.
it is. It is. It definitely is. I do appreciate the conversation and you letting
Yeah,
me join for a little while, man. But I
no
gotta go,
problem.
and maybe next time you're on, shoot me an invite, and I will at least listen. For
All
sure.
right, sounds good. I'll do
Keep
that.
keep keep doing what you're doing, man.
All
Thank you.
right, thanks, Nuno. All right, that was a good conversation. I am a sucker for a good conversation. I don't know about anybody else. right, folks, tap those screens, send all this stuff, share it, let it out, everybody know. Oh, Firebrand Atheist, Pentecostal minister for over 30 plus years. Explains why you're Firebrand. Has anybody ever noticed that some of the most vocal people are ex-smokers are the most vocal about not smoking, et cetera, et cetera. But not every atheist or ex-Christian is loud about it, just as us on TikTok and YouTube, which is not the majority, by the way. Does atheists experience? Yes. We have new shows all the time. Every week, Sundays. Atheist Experience is on. Talk Heathen is on Sunday morning. Nonprofits is still aired. I forget when they actually premiere their stuff. Truth Wanted still airs on Friday. So yeah. So, and yeah, because you got to keep the algorithm happy, and you've got to publish stuff more than once a week, which is what a lot of our shows do, to stay relevant on YouTube. So they do a lot of that. Jeff D did what a lot of old hoes did and just decided he didn't want to do it anymore. Unfortunately. I have no idea if Catholics give passes to Protestant extremism. I would hope not. But, you know, there's also pretty extreme Catholics out there, too. The head of the Catholic Defamation League's pretty out there. And there are some subgroups of Catholics that are also pretty far out there. So... Pierce, I think that the most informed atheists, because we're out here doing this, and the arguments never get better, and the arguments are the same over and over again. That's why people stop, atheists stop watching the Atheist Experience, because they hear the first 5 words out of the caller's mouth, and we know where the conversation's going. So, yeah, I mean, Christianity did a lot to promote helping the poor, taking care of the poor, etc. But that wasn't a new concept and was already in the air, right around that time. So, yeah. Yeah, some Catholics don't know just how hateful some of the stuff they say is. A lot of people don't know. I've done it, so... original English. I don't know what is original English. There's Old English, but that's not original English. I don't know what original English is. You're going to have to define that there, Cody. Brain food. Why are we quoting the Bible? Unless we're trying to point out that the Bible is incredibly misogynistic. Reading the Bible, I know it wasn't originally written in English. It's a bunch of folks who can read and write Greek, attempting to convey the words of a man who spoke Aramaic decades after he died. So, how many of the miracles of the Bible are now being done by stagehands, like water into wine, healing the sick and the lame? I mean, we can fake all that today. So just because these things are in the Bible doesn't mean they're actually true. Yeah, Mike, I agree with you. Jesus loves you is just kind of... I live in Southern Alabama, so I get have a blessed day all the time. I don't get mad at it. They're just saying have a good day, which is nice. Extra information available. What does that mean, Easter eggs? What does that mean? Oh, you're looking for the hidden meaning in the Bible so that words don't mean words. Got it. Yeah, I didn't know Justin had actually done that, but it doesn't surprise me. It's easy enough. I mean, you can go to Amazon and Google trick picture, and you'll get magic tricks, all kinds of magic tricks. So, well, yeah, the T-Rex, the best Christians are Westboro Baptist Church. They're also horrible human beings. Completely horrible human beings, but they believe that they're probably the closest religion to the actual Bible, or at least they try to be. But yeah, everybody just tap the screen, share the stream. Let's get some more folks up here and have some conversations. Considered a victim at this point in history, Cody. That's an interesting. I didn't know about that. I mean, he was a victim of prejudice, certainly. Roman crucifixion, all that kind of stuff. But I don't know. I really, really don't. Here we go. Helios, welcome. And are you over 18?
Yes.
Fantastic. And what do you want to talk about today?
Well, I want to ask you, have you ever heard of Spinoza's God?
Yes, I have.
Einstein believed in it.
Well, the actual quote is that if something along the lines, if you press me, I'll say Spinoza's God, but Spinoza's God is just kind of really useless, right? It's certainly not the God of the Bible.
Yeah, no, it's not the God of the Bible, but although it could be, so it depends. I'm not.
Well, the God of the Bible has a will and has agency and does things because he intends to. I don't know that saying that God is not a personal being but is identical with nature is the same kind of thing.
Okay, so my understanding is this, and I've been studying this for over 40 years, looking at every single belief system, religion, and what have you. The Old Testament is the Jewish God. That
Yep.
Jewish God was actually very, racist. It was only for the Jewish people, right? So that's why in the Old Testament, which is the Torah, right? Nobody else mattered but the Jews, and that's why there was a lot of killing and slavery and all this. That image of that God, yeah, it is mostly, as you can see today, how they look at everybody else and how they treat everybody else. They're separate, what have you. So that image of God, I don't think was the actual what it was supposed to be. That's why Jesus came and he went against that belief. He went against that belief. He told them that's not, you get it all wrong. And so that's why they decided to crucify him, get rid of him. But what Jesus was teaching, all his teachings point to Eastern philosophy. And that Eastern philosophy is the same principle that Spinoza's God points to. Essentially, that existence, hold on, let me finish. Existence, basically, we're talking about non-duality, talking about the Hindu God, we're talking about Zen, the Tao, everything that's pointing to existence itself, meaning existence has certain qualities that is the only thing that could be God. One is eternal. It was never created. It was infinite. It produces physical reality, right? Everything is just energy.
Yeah, but you're just lumping a whole bunch of religions together that don't actually believe anything that you claim they do, right? You're just kind of glossing over a whole lot of detail when you talk about Eastern philosophy. Shintoism is spirits. It has nothing to do with God. Buddhism is technically an atheistic religion. They don't believe in a God either.
Have you studied those beliefs?
Yeah, I've talked to a number of Buddhists who all agree,
No,
and
you
every
talked
time
to
I
them.
every time I mention it, there's on Atheist Experience, there's a
Okay.
Buddhist
Have
on
you
there saying,
studied?
yeah, it's not, there's no belief in a God with Buddhism.
Okay. Have you studied them?
What do you mean by study with them?
No, study them. Actually, really went into the understanding of it.
No, I just know they're
No.
atheists. So to claim that and they do have supernatural beliefs, but to say that all these beliefs are all the same thing is absolutely ridiculous.
No, Jim, I didn't say they're all the same thing. I said they point to the same thing. So
Yeah,
if you
and
just let me
it's
finish,
exactly what I
can
said. They don't all point to the same thing. They can't because they're all very different.
can I explain to you why that is?
Do your best effort.
Okay, have you ever heard of non-duality?
Vaguely.
Have you heard of
Explain it.
enlightenment? Have you heard of enlightenment?
Well, yes,
Spiritual
but
awakening, non-duality.
yeah, I don't accept anything. I don't expect spiritual awakening as a thing because I don't expect spiritual things or anything supernatural to exist. So, okay, so
And
what?
this is that. That's your misunderstanding because it has nothing to do with the supernatural.
Right. So how do you measure the spiritual world? How do you prove that spiritual things exist?
Okay, so here's I'll give you a quick understanding so you can understand what I'm trying to say, okay?
Oh, here we
What
go.
Jesus was teaching,
Non-duality is a philosophical and spiritual concept that suggests reality is not divided into separate parts, but is instead a single unified whole. Good. Prove the supernatural. Prove that your definition of give me your definition of spiritual and prove it exists.
that spiritual what?
Give me your definition of spirituality and prove to me it exists.
Spirituality, okay. The whole idea is that everything Jesus was pointing to, non-duality, it was pointing to the same thing, like I said, Zen, the Tao. These beliefs point to existence itself. Right now, existence itself does not have any labels. Existence itself does not contain language. In other words, objective reality, which is outside the mind, outside of our perspective, just is. It is one quantum field. Everything is just
There's no such
flowing.
thing as one quantum field as far as we know.
Hold on.
There are multiple
Please let
quantum
me finish.
fields.
Jim, let me
No, you
finish.
just said something that was completely wrong.
If you could understand, then you can tear it apart if you want.
I
If you
just
don't
tore it
understand,
apart. You have no way to prove any of this.
okay, do you believe everything is made of energy?
E equals MC squared, yes.
Correct, exactly. So that energy, when we came down to it, it's a quantum field. Existence,
It's
which is
multiple
made of
quantum
energy,
fields, but okay.
it's basically a quantum field. Now, this quantum field energy, whatever it
No,
is,
no, no,
it
no,
goes
no,
in
no,
that.
no, no, no. There are multiple quantum fields. There is not one.
Okay, Jim, I'm trying to point to something. Please, just
I
have an
know, but
open
you're saying
mind.
something that is fundamentally wrong. You're saying quantum field as if there's only one. There isn't. There's multiple. So it can't be pointing to one quantum field.
Beautiful, beautiful. Let's just go with what you're saying. There's a multiple quantum field, okay? And what I'm trying to tell you is this language, which has programmed you to see existence with all these divisions, with all these labels, with all these quote unquote knowledge. So this quantum field doesn't even exist. This is something that we came up with. This is
What do you
sound
mean
that
it
we
doesn't
came
exist? Can you
into.
prove that it doesn't exist?
Yes, it only exists because
Okay,
we
so how
live
much?
that.
So which particular papers proving that the quantum fields exist are you disagreeing with, and what is your disagreement on those scientific papers? Do
You're
you even have
missing the
enough knowledge to disagree with any scientific paper on whether or not a quantum field exists?
you're missing the point, Jim.
No,
A
that is my
tree.
point. You said that the
Listen,
quantum fields don't exist. I'm asking you to prove it.
I say it's a concept. Quantum fields are a concept.
No, they're a
What
real
hap-
thing. We can measure them, and we do measure them.
No. Who came up with the name quantum?
It's how we define what we're talking about. Quantum fields exist.
Who defined it?
I have no idea. Who cares? Let's say it's Bob. Bob defined quantum. Doesn't mean quantum fields don't exist.
Exactly. Bob came up with this concept with the sounds.
No, it's not a concept. He labeled a phenomena he was measuring and called it quantum. There is a thing.
Measurements, language, labels is something we came up with. Existence has no labels.
Yes, to describe things that exist. That's what labels are. They describe things that exist.
Okay, Jim. You're right. We're describing things. It's like a map. A map is not.
And the things exist. The map is not the territory, yes, but things exist.
Exactly. What I'm trying to point to is that the terms that we use, the labels that we use, those are things that we came up with. Existence itself doesn't contain labels. A tree doesn't have a named tree.
And none of that proves that anything you're saying is true.
Well, listen, Jim, if you take away all the labels that we invented, if we take away all the words that we came up with, what is left is just this with no labels. Labels create a separation.
Why do I give a shit?
So there is no separation. Reality is not separate. It is one.
Why do I care? Why do I care?
Okay, so why do you care is this? Okay. Reality again, objective reality outside the mind. Everything outside the mind. Everything inside the mind is an illusion.
Yes, I know what objective reality is.
Reality. Now, this reality is infinite. This reality is eternal. It was not created. Okay, this reality produces objective reality made of energy. And this reality, the reason why it's called God by Spinoza and Einstein.
Yeah, they're redefining nature as God. Yeah, we come back to what I said in the beginning, right? When I gave you the definition of what Spinoza's God was, that God doesn't exist. That's just renaming nature, and that's all you have. All you're doing is renaming nature with something with a lot of baggage. Well, just call it nature. Just call it nature.
It is in control of your miserable life. That is why it is.
Why not just call it nature?
It decides when you're born.
Why not just call it nature? I mean, it's just nature. All you're doing is redefining things for no particular reason. We don't need to do that.
So the concept of God came from nature. When they saw thunder...
So who gives a shit? We've been over this. You can't tell me why I should call it God. Why should I call it God instead of nature?
No, I'm trying to explain to you. I don't care what you call it, Jim. I don't care if...
All right, fine. You have nothing. You are nothing. You're just playing antics with semantics and trying to sound all spiritual. Thank you very much, Helios, for attempting to do absolutely nothing. I hate people who play antics with semantics. If God and nature are the same thing, we have a perfectly valid word for that. And that valid word is, anyone want to guess? Nature. Okay. Yeah, exorcism. I was actually just being kind of melodramatic with the yawn. I don't know what worshipping is for moth of nature now. I don't know what that means. Oh, sure. Really, really simple. I would call you younger. We'll just call you Yeki. Yeki. So first of all, the problem of evil means that the omni-God that you probably believe in is logically impossible. And then, of course, premise, I have an inductive argument against all gods, all other gods. And that is 2,000 years ago, we had supernatural explanations for a number of natural phenomenon. Here we are 2,000 years and later, and none of those explanations have been proven true. We have natural explanations for all phenomena today, or nearly all phenomena. Some we just don't know. However, because of this track record, I see absolutely no reason to believe in anything supernatural, and that includes your God. Your turn. Prove your God exists. Or prove the supernatural exists. Come on, Yeki. Better yet, prove the young Earth exists. Yeah. Yeah, so, Jesus Christ, we just going to move goalposts around there, Yeki? Huh? Can't you stay on topic? Evolution, the modern definition. Oh, by the way, tap those screens, send the presents, do all those things. I would greatly appreciate it. So evolution, the modern definition, is the change in allele frequency over time in a population. Do you want me to define what alleles are? Alleles are the group of genes responsible for a single characteristic, such as eye color. So if you say that evolution is not true, you must also say genes don't exist. Good luck. No, atheism is not. Atheism is a single stance on a single proposition, and evolution. So basically, young Earth creation, you're saying that genes don't exist. Wow, are you ignorant? Laura, I have no idea what you're talking about. Yeah, atheism is a position on a single proposition. It's nothing more. Houses don't evolve. By definition, evolution includes genes. Houses don't have genes. Evolution is proven. Okay, so young Earth creation, you're saying genes don't exist. Please prove the genes don't exist. Is a little metal band? That is kind of cool. No, genes are proof that evolution exists. It's right there in the definition of evolution. Were you not following me? Young Earth creation, why don't you just come on up? Dogs are continuing to evolve, just as we are. Yes, they do. Young Earth creation, let me give you the definition again. Evolution is the change in allele frequency over time in a population. Alleles are the group of genes responsible for a single physical characteristic, such as eye color. Genes prove evolution. Zy Phoenix, this is the first time I've seen you say anything, so saying really ignoring me because you're pressing somebody, I don't know. Yeah, that's actually happening, but I'm also paying attention to Yeki down here. Young Earth Creation, you want me to invite you up? I can invite you up. Because I don't think you're listening to me. You're just saying stuff to say stuff. Yeah, tap and share, tap and share. Yes, because science is true. Yeah, I just haven't seen you posting, Ziphinix. I'm sorry. If you've been doing it that long, I just haven't been paying attention. I apologize for that. I should be paying attention to everybody. What do you mean science isn't true? We're talking on things that science created. I mean, to say science isn't true is to deny that water is wet. Ziphinix, science isn't always proven, but some of it is true. Sort of, kind of, not really. You're correct. If that is what water makes things wet. Laura, resorting to personal attacks, even when they're just generally at a whole group of people, doesn't mean anything. And if you want to come up and present your evidence, you can do it. But so far, there has been no sufficient good evidence to warrant belief in a God. So, but please, I can invite you up. You can come up. Not everything found out is proven. I don't know what that means. Yeah, ad hominem attacks, Laura, are just dumb. They're basically an admission you have nothing to prove your point. Waterman, you want to prove that we all know God is real? Because I certainly don't. Unless you're claiming to be a mind reader. Why don't you come on up? I've done that several times, Young Earth Creation. It's in the definition. Genes exist. Genes exist, prove evolution works. Harassment and bullying. I don't know what harassment and bullying is. So apparently somebody decided to report me, or maybe the algorithm didn't understand what I was saying. Atheists deny atheism is explained by the brain, so I don't know what that means, Laura. You're not making any sense. As a skeptic, we don't even have to go to the fossil record. We can just look at the definition of evolution as the change in allele frequency over time in a population and go, genes exist, therefore evolution exists. Don't even have to go to the fossil record. That's why I don't go to the fossil record. It's just right there in the definition. Dinosaurs eventually did, yes, in fact, become a chicken. Yes, that's the allele frequency over time in a population. Yes. Yeah, the TikTok AI, probably. No, I don't know what it means because you're not making any sense, Laura. You're saying nonsensical words. No, Rock's not atheistic. In order to be an atheist, you have to be able to hold a position on a proposition. I don't want to have that whole conversation. This is my channel. Therefore, rocks are not atheists because they cannot hold a position on a proposition. Yeah, come on up, Laura. Let's see if you can actually say words instead of type them. I would get bored, I think, if I was God of the world. One of my favorite quotes is from Meditations, which was written by Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome. And he says, basically, he's trying to tell himself to get out of bed. Let me find the whole quote. I really should have it. Yeah, here it is. And keep in mind, this is the Emperor of Rome, as close to a god as anyone's ever going to get. At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work. As a human being, what do I have to complain of if I'm going to do what I was born for, the things I was brought into the world to do? Or is this what I was created for, to huddle under the blankets and stay warm? If the Emperor of Rome doesn't want to get out from underneath the blankets because it's warm, yeah, I think I would get bored as God. Hey, Tom, thanks for following me. Tap the screen, share the stream. Ooh, that rhymes. You keep repeating the same thing over and over again, Laura, and it just makes you sound like like you have no idea what you're talking about. So why don't you come on up and then you can repeat yourself directly to me. Dropping bars? I don't know what that means. So what does atheism explained by the brain even mean? I mean, atheism is literally a position on a single proposition. Hey, thanks, Hot Opinion. I think debates help, and I think conversations help. We call them debates because we're talking about whether or not something is true, and that always sounds like a debate. But because there's no such, because it's the middle of a transition. What are you talking about? We can. And even if we couldn't, it wouldn't change the definition, and it wouldn't change the fact that to deny evolution is to deny genes exist. You know what? Why don't I just do this? Evo Janeo. All right. I want to mess with something here. We're going to do window capture, add. Okay. Why did that not do what I wanted it to do? Silly TikTok, do what I want you to do. It is open on my laptop. It is open. It's right here, and it's not showing. Why is it not showing up? Oh, that's why it's not showing up. There we go. Got to move it into the right position, don't I? So those of you who don't know what this website is, well, shoot. Let me fix center on the scene. There we go. Yeah. I know it's not original. That's the whole point. I'm not claiming it to be original. So if you go to this website, you can find the whole tree of life, how we go from oceans and rust all the way down here, all the way over to all kinds of good stuff. Oh, that's why. So we can go from bacteria and single cell organisms down here on the left, and then shows the entire progression all the way up through and including mammals. And it will even do things like we can pick humans and lizards. And it shows you where we had a common ancestor and what that common ancestor was. So there you go. And you can also go through and look at the fossil record for all of the fossils you're looking for. So yeah. Theropod dinosaurs and songbirds. And Western skink. Anyway, you can do all that. It is a really, really fun and exciting time. So there you go. Go have fun with that. Yeah, we're still evolving. Number of miscopied genes in a human. Because the allele frequencies are still changing. Hey, Kyle. Oh, thank you, Anthony. I would like to get back. I was supposed to be on the line last Wednesday, and I completely screwed it up. Yeah, so Young Earth Creation, why don't you just come on out and have this conversation? Humans are evolving. On average, a human baby has approximately 60 to 70 new genetic mutations, sometimes referred to as miscopied genes. And of course, our allele frequency is always changing. So yeah, you just don't know anything. Yeah, and when you go look at those fossils and you compare them to other fossils, You can see that there are distinct body plans, and you can see how those body plans change over time. Body plans change because of genes. Again, if you deny evolution, you have to deny genes exist. The two things go hand in hand. You can't get around it, ever, ever, ever. Hey, Kyle, you want to come up and have a conversation? We can talk about just about anything. I saw Neil in here earlier. I don't know if he's still in here. KM Rubrics is live. Are you over 18?
No, I've been here before. You know me.
Oh, okay. I'm actually starting to track people's names and when and where I talk to them and what I talk to them about. So I will remember because I have a memory like a steel sieve. So
No, it's fine and all that. No, it's interesting. I mean, you remember me last time, so I know that you probably talked to a lot of people. I was the one who talked to you about the evolution of compassion and all that stuff. You asked me about child development and things.
Oh yeah. Okay. Oh right. You're the guy who can talk far more intelligently about evolution than I can. But honestly, I don't see any reason to talk about it any more than just to point out it is directly tied to genes.
Yeah, you're right. Absolutely. I mean, if evolution wasn't a thing, DNA wouldn't even exist. I mean,
Right.
DNA literally could be considered the language of adaptation. So that it's necessary so that we can adapt to further, environmental changes. I actually, in my field, we study the social principle of evolution with social dynamics, and I concentrate in emotion sciences and all that. So, we can. And that was said in the comments that even in my field, we can show evolutionary changes because we know that certain facial expressive muscles in the face, things that we don't need as much emphasis for that we did back in the day, centuries ago. A lot of those muscles, a lot of those nerve endings that used to control those facial muscle or faction activities, is what we call them. A lot of those muscles, a lot of those nerves are atrophied because we don't need them as much.
Yeah. My sister can wiggle her ears and I cannot.
Oh yeah. That's. I mean, there is certain muscles around the eyes that only a very small percentage of people can move voluntarily because those muscles used to belong to certain expressions that we just don't have a need for as much, or that type of activity in those areas. We call them faction areas. So,
Right.
but no, I just wanted to come up and say hi and doing a great job. I was here earlier with another for your other guest. So. Yeah.
And young Earth creation is still genes don't change anything. Yes, they do. They control they control body plan, they control eye color, and so when the frequency of that allele changes, that is evolution.
I mean, that's why we have dominant and recessive genes and gene combinations and all that. It's, why certain types of genes are more easily or more likely to be passed on. Environmentals. I mean, accents alone, voice accents are gene based.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Oh yeah. In fact, that's actually why it's theorized that some people are more attracted to certain types of accent types, because accents evolutionarily show or might show that somebody has a more diversity within their gene expressions or gene diversities, which means that you might have more potential immunities to offer and partners. Yeah, I myself am not an evolutionary biologist. I have a close friend who is, and I love talking to her because we cross notes when it comes. I do forensics. She does evolutionary biology and chemistry. So.
Yeah. Well, I talked to Forrest. Not as often as I would like, but fairly often. And it's fun to talk to him. And then I follow a number of actual evolutionary biologists on YouTube, and not so much on TikTok. I really do like the longer form of YouTube, but yeah. Actually, so let's talk about how the ability to move an ear proves that evolution, because the muscles to do that are controlled by genes, whether or not they actually exist, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sure. There's a simple demonstration of this, Jim. You can do. Anybody in the chat can do that. You can do it yourself. It's one of my most used examples because it's so easy to do. But there's a nerve I don't know if Forrest. We specialize in different areas. I do forensic behavior, so I don't know if this is something he might be able to go to more detailed explanation about this. But when it comes to facial movements, we have 64 muscles in the face, including fibractic and neurological. And the reason why that's important is because nerves change what muscle groupings do depending on what the muscle contraction is. There's a nerve that runs down your forehead. There's a nerve that runs down your forehead, and it runs down and surrounds both eye sockets. And this nerve changes the activity between whether fear, surprise, or anger is being shown. Now, to demonstrate that not everybody is able to, because of how we evolved with our expressions, it changes something. If you take your left eyebrow and raise it up, not everybody can do this, which is interesting. We still don't know exactly why that's completely atrophied quite yet, but it's interesting. If you take your left eyebrow, move it up, just the left eyebrow, then the right, the left, and then the right. You do that separately, and then you move them together. It feels like it's the same muscle, but it's actually not. It's this completely separate muscle that the nerve running down actually changes the activity in those muscles and what they do. And it's very it's because certain types of expressions evolved more emphasized before others did. So evolution apparently found it more quicker. Instead of changing the muscle fibers and what they do, the nerve just changes how they react to the signal.
Right, and all that is controlled by genes.
Yeah.
So when Young Earth Creation says, I don't know what he's saying there. Religion never getting back up from rubrics. I don't know what that means. Poor muscle in the face proves atheism? No. What proves atheism is the fact that God doesn't exist, and we can prove that God doesn't exist. So that proves atheism.
Now,
You care to prove that your God exists, or Young Earth Creation? Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine. You're fine. No, Young Earth. What Young Earth. I'm like, cults do so much damage, Jim. They do. It's hard to see that. I personally, a colleague of mine likes seeing them young because if they're young, they can be corrected. I don't like seeing them that young personally because that means someone is teaching them this garbage, and it's really it hurts to see that, you know.
Yeah. Well, now apparently Young Earth Creation is talking about the Bible and the Book of Mormon. Yes, I have read the Bible twice. I study the Bible on a fairly regular basis, and the Bible is the claim, not the evidence. The Book of Mormon, that's a whole different box of stuff that is just definitely not true. Yeah. But yeah, it's just interesting to look at. I was talking about species earlier and how there's a problem with the most common definition of the word, the usage of the word in scientific terms, and that is that the two populations that can't have sex, and yet ligers exist, and there's this two species of fish, one from Russia, one from the United States, that can breed. And are definitely not related to each other in any way, shape, or form. And all of that is this problem with species, the definition of it. Because species is something we impose on nature, it's not something nature imposes on us.
Oh yeah. It's more descriptive than cemented because I listen to Forrest too, and he explains that we use these terms to help guide us through our research as best we can. But there's so many terms in even biology that are so nuanced, so abstract. It's just the best we can do to describe things. But especially when it comes to genes and sexuality, you're asking for sexuality and sexuality period, but sexuality, especially in humanity, isn't as simple as we think. It was often so taught wrong by school systems, and mine was one of them. And I love knowing and understanding those things better because when I'm able to pair that with the data that I use when it comes to forensic sexuology or sexuality, it makes it easier for me to teach sexual orientations and the social principles of those things.
Yeah.
I talk fast. So.
Yes. Yeah.
I do talk that. I'm sorry.
No, people who really know their stuff tend to do that. If you get me on a programming topic, I will do the same thing. Yeah, so I've studied the Bible, which is how I know that the God of the Bible doesn't exist, because it's just a claim of a whole bunch of stuff. So, no, it is the claim, not the evidence. And the Bible is at best historical fiction. It is still fiction. And if you want me to treat the Bible as a historical document, guess what? We throw out all the supernatural stuff right off the bat, just like we do for every historical document. I have read the Book of Mormon. That's how I know it's a box of bullocks. It's actually the worst. Nathan Steele's sword, for instance, happens long before steel was discovered, happens in the middle of the Bronze Age. Therefore, it couldn't have happened. Yeah. Oh, yeah, thanks for the gifts. Tap, share.
I wasn't even looking at the screen, actually. Talking like that, I just treat it like a phone call pretty much for myself.
Yeah, I do. I kind of sometimes do the same thing. Yeah, Rubik's the GOAT, times 20. Fantastic. Thanks, Firebrand. No, it didn't. You can't get steel before mankind knows how to work with iron. By definition, steel is iron and carbon. In fact, the modern definition of you don't even get the modern definition of steel back, until the Bessemer process was recreated. So anyway, Cam Rubix, I'm going to go ahead and let you go. I appreciate you coming up. It's always fun. We'll talk at you later.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Jim. Thank you for having me, and you take care.
All right, you
See
too.
you around.
Yeah, bye. You keep saying it did happen. No, there isn't. So prove it. Actually, you know what, Young Earth Creation, why don't you come on up and have a conversation, because we can talk about it. Or you can just sit there and because the Book of Mormon is garbage. It was literally created by a guy who was found guilty of defrauding people by looking into his hat to tell them he was prophesying, and then he looked in his hat again. I mean, just from the jump, the book is horrible. The gold plates don't exist. There's no such thing as, what did he call it, Middle Egyptian? Reformed Egyptian, yeah. There's no such thing. So, no, yeah, well, he was definitely discriminated against. But it's also true that before he founded Mormonism, he was found guilty of fraud by saying he could foretell the future by reading rocks in his hat, which is exactly how he created the Book of Mormon. No, there's no such thing as Reformed Egyptian, Young Earth Creation, not a thing. If there was, you could point to a source outside of the book. Well, you can't even you can't even point to the Book of Mormon being Reformed Egyptian. So, yeah, he did. So what? He had a hallucination. No, he had at best a hallucination. Remember, you're assuming that God exists. You need to convince me that God exists first, which you, of course, cannot do. Well, yeah, the Book of Mormon is also blatantly racist. I've been had 2 strikes against me already for saying similar things. Well, I mean, people fundamentally identify with things, and they believe what they're told from Anthony. People believe in things they're told from people they think are authorities who aren't actually authorities on whatever it is they're talking about. Yeah, and he was also found guilty of fraud for attempting to tell fortunes by looking in his hat. Doesn't matter how faithful he was still a fraud. And he committed that fraud when he created Mormons. And like I said, show me Reformed Egyptian. I can probably get you the case number. If they had case numbers back then, I don't know how much. Yeah, so 1830s, Kirkland Bank failure, glass looker case, brought to court in 1826 on charges of being a glass looker and a disorderly person for his treasure digging activities. The official documents published as part of the Joseph Smith papers indicate a guilty verdict was handed down and he was just discharged. So I don't have a case number. I thought I might. There you go. Yeah, seer stones don't exist. That's the problem. No such thing. That is fraud. Oh, I know he used it. It's just not a thing. Right? Because again, you're claiming the supernatural. You got to prove the supernatural exists in order to prove that seer stones are anything more than fraud. That's the problem that you have. And banking fraud also. And Mormon.org, what does it say? So this is on Mormon.org. Was Joseph Smith convicted of fraud, money digging, or anything similar? Possibly. Joseph Smith appeared in court several times for being a glass looker and a disorderly person. There are contradictory reports published about the results of an 1826 court appearance, but incidents in 1829 and 1830 were dismissed. We have record of him either admitting guilt or being found guilt. And fraud was defined at the time as an attempt to gain or the obtaining of an advantage over another by imposition or immoral means, particularly deception in contracts. So yes. Right, I'm asking you to prove what you believe is true. Young Earth creation. That's all I'm doing. Prove it's true. Prove your God exists. So, yeah, and here's Mormon.org saying about the seer stones that Joseph had multiple seer stones, possibly up to 5. Discovered one near Lake Erie, uncovered another while digging a well for the Chase family, found 2 small stones on the beach in Nauvoo. Might have bought one. They're just most likely, I don't care if he was faithful, I care whether or not his faith was true. You can be faithful to things that aren't true. For instance, you could be faithful to the belief that the Great Spirit exists. And I think you would say that the Great Spirit doesn't exist. And yet, there are Native Americans who will be faithful to their beliefs. Hindus are faithful to their beliefs. Shinto are faithful to their belief. So, faithful doesn't mean anything. Young Earth creation. I apparently can't even invite you to come up. That kind of sucks. Because he was committing more fraud and he was getting a following and making money. And that's why most people write fiction, right? Is to make money, have people read it, enjoy it. In his case, he wanted to believe it. I mean, I can ask the same thing about Dianetics and L. Ron Hubbard. Do you think Dianetics is true? Why would L. Ron Hubbard write something that wasn't true? I mean, he could even have believed that what he was writing was true, but that doesn't mean it is. Right, sure. Again, you'd have to, just because he wrote it doesn't make it true. Right? Like I said, L. Ron Hubbard wrote Dianetics. Do you think Scientology is true? Why would he write something if he didn't believe it to be true? It's the same question. I just changed religions on you. Joseph Smith have. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you can say he didn't have any control of the church. He was prophet, seer, revelator, president of the church. He dictated revelations that established church doctrine and his own authority. As the leader of the city of Nauvoo, he ran the municipal government and commanded the Nauvoo militia, which made him a powerful, almost despotic figure to some. So I don't know how you can say that he didn't actually have control over it when all of those things are true. I mean, it just sounds like you're making stuff up now. Hey, folks, like the stream, share it, send gifts, do all those things. Titan, you don't know who Joseph Smith is? He's the founder of the Latter-day Saints, also known as the Mormons. So, yeah, to Mormons, he was pretty much modern day 1800s Messiah, prophet, whatever you want to call him. I call him a fraud. And yet, so you're saying that he was not the running the city of Nauvoo, its courts, and large city militia. You're saying that he was not the president of the church. He did not dictate revelations that established the church doctrine and his own authority. He didn't do any of those things. All those things are lies. Yeah, no, he made it all up. You're going to have to prove otherwise. You can't even prove that there's such thing as Reformed Egyptian, right? So if you can't even prove Reformed Egyptian exists, then how do you know the rest of it's true? Oh, that's interesting. Again, from Mormon.org, probably reliable, at least on LDS stuff, that Joseph Smith declared martial law, which led to his charges of treason. Oh, look at this. Joseph and Hiram are already in Carthage for a retrial of charges for inciting a riot from 2 weeks earlier when Joseph ordered the destruction of the Expositor, a local newspaper. Oh. I just heard the beeps of death coming from my AirPod. So, yeah. Oh, look at that. Joseph Smith had a gun and killed people. He's also a Freemason. So, yeah, young Earth creation, your dude. So, from Mormon.org. Is it true? This is word for word what's on Mormon.org. Is it true that Joseph had a gun during the attack at Carthage jail and shot people? Yes. Cyrus Wheelock smuggled a gun into Carthage jail in his overcoat and gave it to Joseph. When the mob of armed men entered the jail to kill Joseph and his colleagues, Joseph fired back with a 6-barreled pistol. 3 men in the mob were reportedly wounded. Hiram also had a gun, but it is unclear whether he fired it. And oh look, there's a picture of the pepper box pistol. So yeah, he shot people. I didn't say he killed people. I said he shot people. And if I did say he killed people, I misspoke. It should have been shot. So, yeah. Oh, Jim Jones is a whole other kettle of fish. A similar kettle of fish. So, Young Earth Creation, why don't you come on up and we just talk about it? Yeah, like, subscribe, like, follow, and share the stream. It'd be nice to have some folks to come up and talk instead of waiting on Young Earth Creation to type. Should I just randomly invite people to come up? I think most of the people I could invite are all atheists anyway. But come on up, Young Earth Creation. Let's have a conversation about it. You don't need to be on the web. You should just be able to invite yourself up on the app. I can't invite you, so you may not be able to invite yourself up on the app. So, and if you're coming on with a different username, let me know what it is before you come on. So, while we're waiting for Young Earth Creation, yeah, there's just so much stuff out there on Mormonism. Mormonism Research Ministry. Did Joseph lie? Yes, he certainly did. Wow. Yeah. Hey, folks. Oh, and yeah, in the book of Abraham. Wow, is that a story? Tamed a ancient papyri from a traveling mummy exhibitionist named Michael Chandler. According to Smith, these papyri contain the words of Abraham written by his own hand. How he would know that when he couldn't read Egyptian, I didn't know. That certainly wasn't Reformed Egyptian, which nobody can even prove exists. Oh, Joseph Smith was a polytheist? This is MRM, Mormon Research Ministry. I have no idea who these guys are. I should probably find out. Just reading this stuff is hysterical. What we do. MRM is an evangelical missionary apologetics organization organized in 1979 to propagate the gospel of Jesus Christ and to critically evaluate the difference between Mormonism and biblical Christianity. They serve Christians, factual material in printed and electronic form. Takes the gospel directly to Mormon people by conducting outreaches at Mormon events such as temple openings and pageants, counseling. Oh, God. Christians counseling other people. That's always scary. Shannon Q has some very pointed things to say about Christian therapy. Well, folks, if you could tap that screen and like and subscribe and do all those things, that would be awesome. Especially share the stream. Share the stream. Because I'm coming up on 3 hours and my voice is giving out, so I probably... brain food, that would be not surprising, but is it true? Yeah, it is true. Yeah, how is that possible in a Christian country? Anyway, folks, I think I am going to call it here. I don't see Young Earth Creation showing up here anytime soon. Hey, Titan, welcome back. And I haven't eaten dinner yet. And I haven't fed the dog. So that needs to happen. All right, folks. I think we're going to call it here. You all have a wonderful rest of your evening. I may or may not be back later. Have some fun. And remember, stay skeptical and think it through before you believe anything.